Hi, I'm Tara Lynn of Geek Saga Entertainment, and welcome to Drinkin Con, The Hangover, a post-Dragon Con webcast where we talk about what we did, what we missed, and how we felt overall about Dragon Con 2023. Today, I'm joined by Ashley, Manny, and Jenna. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys. If you have any social media you want to share, go ahead and share that. And don't forget to tell us what you're drinking.
Hi, my name is Manny. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Manissimo Art. And I am drinking, of course, the most manly drink of them all, White Claw. Thank you.
Ashley, you're muted.
I'm Ashley.
We'll never get away from Ashley's mic
problems. You can find me at a podcast of Ice and Fire for Game of Thrones information. I'm Ashley Clegane on Twitter, mostly, again, Game of Thrones and the House of the Dragon stuff posted there. And I'm drinking leftovers from Dragon Con, which is Monster Energy drink and vodka.
Fancy.
I'm Jenna. You can find me on Instagram under Derpy Squirrel Cosplay. I am drinking a Simply Spiked lemonade.
All right. And as I already mentioned, I'm Tara. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Geek Saga, and on the web at geeksaga.com. And I am drinking literally the same exact stuff I was drinking for Drinkin Con version 7.0 before the convention, which is currently a pre-made espresso martini. It's I think they're called like
nice.
Yeah, I think it's called like on the rocks or something like that. It's made with effing vodka. I don't know. They have it at the supermarket, so I buy it all the time because it's like always on sale, which is crazy because it's so delicious. And then waiting in the wings, I have a vodka soda with lemon and some White Claws just in case, which I went through all of them last time. So we'll see how it goes.
I should say I do have a Coke if I don't want to go for the next round, but
you
also
go
vodka.
Too hard. Come on now.
I don't want to go too hard on the energy drink.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. Yeah. It's not the vodka I'm cutting out. It's the energy drink.
So also don't forget that Geek Saga Entertainment now has a Patreon with 10 tiers ranging from $1 a month to $40 a month. It offers tons of ways to support us and receive some great perks in return. And don't forget that we also have this drinking game going on. So if you at home want to drink along with us, you can drink when one of the following things happens or is mentioned. Legacy hotel rooms. I have the Dragon Con app in here, but I feel like that's kind of void now, but I think it will be mentioned at least once. So the Dragon Con app, when we use the word Habitrail, which we've gotten away from the past couple of years, so that may be one that gets cut for next year. Any of the cults are mentioned: Carpet, Trashy, FedEx, John, 36 dozen eggs. There's some new things we're going to talk about. So I guess just anytime we mention cults, you might as well drink. When a specific party is mentioned, Bunny Hutch, Heroes and Villains, Spectrum, etc. When there is an animal-related interruption, and then specifically when us four hosts mention things. For me, it's when I mention Ted Lasso or moderating a panel. For Ashley, it's when she mentions Canada or being Canadian or Final Fantasy. When Manny mentions Final Fantasy or Miami. And when Jenna mentions Swag and Seek, and Jenna only gets one because I feel like just that one is going to be dangerous.
Animal interruption.
Yeah, I did say animal interruption. I think I do. Oh, come on. I'm gonna have to let her out in a second, I guess. I knew this was gonna happen. Hold on, actually, let me do that right now before she walks all over my stuff. I'll be right back.
I do want to ask you guys, did you see when I showed the kitten last time, did you see him also jump up and bite me afterwards? Was that on camera?
I don't remember seeing that, but that would be pretty awesome.
2 minutes in, we get an animal
not
related
like being held.
Okay, so what happened in Dragon Con news after Drinkin Con version 7.0?
I was sick. I spent the next week in bed.
That's after Dragon Con. Okay. I'm talking about new news, like Dragon Con stuff that happened after our webcast, which was like 2 weeks before the event, which I think it wasn't much this year. The app came out like which, sorry, drink. I knew it was going to get mentioned at least once, but I actually thought it would be later. So that's fun. So the app came out like 2 days after we did our webcast. So that was fun. I was like, you couldn't have done it just a little bit earlier. My schedule also changed, not like a ton, but enough that I was like, huh, okay. It kind of threw a wrench in my Sunday because I was hoping Sunday would be the day I would be able to sleep in. And that did not happen. But yeah, so not too much stuff changed or happened after we did our webcast 2 weeks before the con. But a lot of stuff happened at the convention. So does anybody have any general at Dragon Con stuff you want to talk about that's not the stuff that I have listed in the document before?
Even if I don't get into any single host hotel, I will never stay at the Hilton.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we might as well jump into it because, again, there's just a lot of what the fuck Hilton news. Like, I feel like that just needs to be an official Dragon Con hashtag or maybe unofficial Dragon Con hashtag WTF Hilton. This first one is actually really serious. There were a ton of break-ins, 37 or 38 rooms, I think is what I heard. Someone made a master key, and a lot of people, including somebody I actually know, had some really important stuff stolen. The person I know, the room was broken into while they were sleeping, which is creepy as fuck. And then I saw a post, I believe it was either on one of the Facebook groups, it could have been on the Dragon Con subreddit, from someone who was from overseas who was coming out to LA after the convention and came out here and didn't have their phone and was like, I can't get ride shares without a phone. I can only hook up to the internet on my tablet. And I just like, I felt so bad. I know, Manny, we talked about this some at the convention itself, but this whole like master key thing that they were able to just copy that so easily is, I mean, I've heard things like that before, but for it to be somebody who was able to break into that many rooms before they got caught. I don't even know if they actually got caught. Did anybody hear anything about that?
I think I did, but at least one person was.
But
also, they were blaming it on. They were also blaming it on people not closing their door all the way, and I don't think all 37 rooms were just people who did not shut their door all the way. I think that's them trying to find a liability out.
So my understanding is a suspect, don't know if it was the one responsible for all of the break-ins, has been apprehended. I would be more curious to know if like there was any rhyme or reason in floor numbers and things of that nature. Because you know, there's going to be certain sets of keys that are master keys for hotels that employees will have, and usually they are limited and restricted, so potentially somebody, you know, may have swiped an employee's key to create said key. There are also a few other exploits out there depending on what devices you're using and things of that nature as well that could have been used. But I'll be honest with you, at the Marriott on Thursday night and Friday night, hotel security was going around and making sure that people were not leaving their doors latched open, and they were making you shut them. So maybe other hotels could, you know, take a point from them in that regard.
Maybe other hotels. Which other hotel? Literally the Hilton. I mean, I leave my door latched open on my room when I'm like running to the ice machine or something.
And I know someone's also in there. Like,
right. Yeah. But that's like, I sure as hell wouldn't do it when I'm sleeping. Like,
I can tell you, like, right now, you know, when it comes to like, because I work in like cybersecurity, you know, so I can tell you right now the majority of these things happen because some dumbass wants to write their password, you know, or the password to whatever kiosk that they use for these master keys, and they leave it right here or like right behind the monitor, so that way they never forget their password, and that's what happens. Or they didn't lock their computer is what happened. So I'm telling you, if someone doesn't lock their computer and you know half of like maybe they worked in the hotel industry, like they know about it. They can be in and out of there in 30 seconds and have a master key for every single room in that hotel. And it all has to do, honestly, in my experience, because somebody doesn't lock their computer or they just want to write their password down with their username underneath their keyboard, like that's safe. You know,
Well, that's frightening.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, when it comes to like security matters, there's things that I don't do, things that I can't sleep at night. You know, where I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. Like anytime I stay at a hotel, I sleep with one eye open. I rarely get sleep just because of situations like that.
I also want to mention that the Hilton parking garage got broken into in multiple cars. And with how much you spend for parking in the hotel thinking it's safe, apparently not so much at the Hilton either.
Jeez, what is going like?
I mean, I don't think it was anywhere on the scale as the hotel rooms, but there was more than one.
Yeah, and I mean, continuing on with WTF Hilton news, no room parties allowed. Now, I do not know how widespread this situation was. I do know that one of my friends tried to host a room party. I think it was early in the week. If it wasn't Wednesday, it was Thursday. And now I believe he had the bad luck of having somebody from Hilton Security for some reason staying on his floor. But at the same time, he literally got a letter from the Hilton that night or the next morning that said no room parties are allowed. And it's like, that's basically Dragon Con, you know? I mean, obviously there's all the Dragon Con stuff going on, but there's a whole fucking Facebook group, the one that actually you introduced us all to, I think, at the pre-Dragon Con webcast this year, where people are just saying, hey, here's where my room's going to be. Come to a party.
I read about that in that group, and someone in the comments, so I don't know how valid it is, said that it was someone from the Hilton was monitoring the group. Again, it was a comment, so I can't say for certain if that is exactly what happened, but well, maybe they're catching on to these groups. I mean, like, what kind of asshole does that? But
I mean, yeah, this is just the essence. Things like this are the essence of Dragon Con. Let people have their fun. And I guess maybe the new ownership or new management of the Hilton is just stupid when it comes to like the fact that there are very few problems with rooms getting destroyed and stuff like that, as far as I've ever heard. So
one of the cons I go to actually has designated room party floors. If you are on the first, I think it's 3 or 4 floors, those are known as the party rooms, and the hotel has different rules for people staying in them.
Yeah,
so I think that should kind of be a Dragon Con thing. Like they should expect like people staying on the first 10 floors are going aside from accessibility rooms.
I think that you went to Conuga with me one year. I don't know if Jenna or Manny, if either you have ever been, and it's not in the same, the host hotel for Conuga, it's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, usually in February. I think it's not the same hotel as it used to be, I don't believe, because that hotel kind of fell into extreme disrepair. But it used to be the main hotel was the Chattanooga Choo Choo, which is a hilarious name. But they had this block of buildings that were in a circle around like a patio garden area. And I'm talking like a very big circle. And if you were in a first floor room in that circle, you were basically expected to leave your doors open on Saturday nights. So on Saturday night of the convention. So I know it's not the same anymore, but yeah, that it seemed to work really well for them.
And I'm referring to a steampunk convention, so like completely different, but it's like, again, people, you know, the hotel and the guests understand how it works, and it's no problem because people who want to party, you know, book specific floors. I understand Dragon Con might be a little hard to do that just because of the elevator situation, accessibility, and everyone wants the first floor. So
yeah,
I can see that being an issue, but I think that, I mean, something like the Hilton should expect the first few floors to be room parties.
Well, and I think too that like if it doesn't seem to be a problem with the Marriott or the Hyatt. So if the Hilton is the only one that has the problem, maybe they're the ones that need to just instate something like that. Ugh. The Hilton. Seriously. Like, anyway, so they weren't the only ones. They were the worst ones, but they weren't the only ones. There was an issue where people who had badges but not room keys weren't being allowed into the Sheraton. And I honestly can't remember who told me about this. But I can't remember who told me about this. Or maybe it was something
I think
we
I
saw
saw it
on
on
one of the
Facebook.
Yeah, and I don't know how widespread it was. Jenna or Manny, did either of you hear about this?
I heard about when it happened, but I also saw it in a meme afterwards. So someone did make a meme out of it.
Oh
so
my
it wasn't
God.
Just
Someone find me that meme, please.
I only go to the Sheraton to get my badge, and then I never go there ever again for the entire convention.
I was gonna say, I don't travel to the Cortland Grand at all.
Oh,
after
yeah, that's right. It's a
pickup.
different name.
Yeah, and but I didn't see the meme, but I did see somebody post about the issue in trying to get there for panels and some things on. I think it was the official Dragon Con Facebook page.
I would have to assume that it was just kind of the front doors around like the lobby area, and they couldn't cut off the convention area. I mean, like, they can't. So
it was probably just some new employee that didn't really know what they were doing. But the fact that I heard about it from a couple different sources makes it me think that it wasn't just a couple people, that it was a thing that was happening throughout the weekend. And you'd think at some point somebody would be like, hey, John Doe employee, maybe you should understand that if they have a badge, they're just allowed into the hotel.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's like, again, I don't go to the Sheraton often enough to know for sure, but maybe like around the check-in area, there's a lot of seats and people were just sitting there chilling, maybe. That's the only thing I can think, is that people were, clogging up the check-in area because they can't kick you out of the convention area. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Now here's the other thing. Does anybody know more about the Marriott ceiling leak? Because all I saw was a picture or a short video of it. I think, Ashley, you showed it to me. As per the usual, I came back to the room and Ashley was like, Terry, guess what happened now? But I only saw that. They must have covered it up, fixed it pretty quickly. But Jenna, you stayed there. Did you see anything about that?
No, I probably saw the same video that Ashley had as far as it being on Facebook and posted. But I can tell you, like, my room wasn't interrupted. I'm pretty sure it was on one of the main levels. It may have stemmed from a room, but I don't believe that it wasn't like 8 floors down kind of flooding or anything like that nature in my understanding. So
Becca's also reminding us, don't forget the unfinished rooms at the now she's saying Sheraton. Listen, I know it's the Cortland Grand. I refuse to call it. It's like I used to work.
Corgi.
I used to work at Disney, and I worked at MGM Studios, right? And then it became Hollywood Studios, and it's like it took me probably a decade to start calling it Hollywood Studios. That's going to be the same thing here, particularly because I do not go to the Sheraton. But apparently there were unfinished rooms there. I feel like I vaguely remember hearing about there being unfinished rooms. I don't remember where they were from, like what hotel they were in, but I'm guessing that Becca's right and it was the Sheraton. And just going back to the Marriott real quick, I know that I saw at least one friend. We talked about this on the pre-Dragon Con webcast, where they had to shut off the water for like a day, just a couple days before, really just a day before a bunch of people started arriving for the convention. And one of my friends checked in on, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and still had brown water coming out of their sink and tub. But this didn't seem to be, either it wasn't widespread or they got it fixed, by Wednesday, because I didn't really see much else about it.
We checked it on Wednesday, and there wasn't any issue in the Marriott with the water, at least on the 18th floor where we were this year. I did see the letter that was sent out to individuals, but it was no issue in regards to where I was.
I think that's a general pipes thing, that if they turn off the
Yeah.
water, when you turn it back on, there's just going to be some sediment that you just got to flush out.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was
It's
just
funny that it happened the day before Dragon Con.
yeah, as per the usual. All right, so moving on to better things. Unless did you guys have any other Dragon Con disaster news that other than what I was able to glean?
I think you've gone through it all. Like, as you know, what I do between panels and stuff is sit in the room reading the Dragon Con Facebook page, looking for disasters to tell you about. I think that's a new pastime.
So I would say that there was an additional one. It felt like even some of the celebrity hosts that were there during the panels had started complaining about the temperature that the Marriott was keeping it at. The ballrooms were freezing, like literally freezing, which is unheard of. But I think they were doing that to try to compensate for the areas that are normally not able to have AC. So that way it was more manageable for, the atrium areas and stuff where people are generally walking. But I know during the panels that I saw in the grand ballroom at the Marriott that it was often times joked about how cold it was and that they were keeping it like an ice locker there.
Which is funny because I didn't even last year people complained about how the AC wasn't working in the Marriott. That was a whole joke that we had in our Dragon Con disaster themed rooms this year, was that there was no AC in the Marriott, aka on one of our balconies, because I turned in the AC off in our room.
I am 100% convinced that the reason I got so sick was because of the temperature in the dealer's room. On Sunday, I was freezing so bad. I was shivering because, you go outside to go there, and I'm wearing this little tiny dress. And inside it was like an ice cube. I needed a jacket. It was so cold. And then it was bad. It was freezing in there. And talking about other disasters, I heard on Saturday they weren't watching all the doors, so they didn't know how many people had left, and they weren't letting people in, so it was pretty much empty inside.
Yet, it was bad. I got a
was
photo.
Like an hour long?
No, it was 4 hours long on Saturday. It was a 4-hour line, and it was because of the security and the fire marshal. And I got photos that I saw from an individual who runs a vendor stand at the vendor hall, and there were literally like 20 people on the whole first floor of the vendor hall because they were letting in so few people at that point. And like they were talking about like the implications for their sales and things like that, because Saturday is their biggest day. That's the biggest day that you have single passes, and like it really affected the vendor hall in regards to the number of people who were allowed in. Because it was a 4-hour long wait. An hour would have been Friday or Sunday, like depending on what time you went, which is manageable for vendor hall, especially on Friday. Like I waited in the hour-long wait, but Saturday was atrocious. It was over 4 hours, and they were only allowing like 50 people in at a time, it seemed like. So it was just halted.
I didn't go to the vendor hall at all. Manny, I think you did, right? And I know, Ashley, you did. How long did you guys wait?
I think I went on Sunday, and it was only 40 minutes. Like, I timed it. I was like, I'm just curious as to how long it's going to take. Because when I first got there on Friday, I ran into my friend Mike as we were doing, like, the registration. And we didn't have anything to do, so we're like, oh, let's go to the vendor's hall, I guess. And we were in line for probably about an hour, and I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm like, I am not going to do this. I said, there is nothing in there that is worth me sitting in line for over an hour to get, And funny enough, even when I went to the vendor's hall, I didn't get anything. So it was like, I didn't, it was kind of a waste. I mean, it was cool walking around, but it was just like, but I guess I kind of knew what I was getting into with it anyway, but,
So I went twice. Friday, I waited in an hour-long line, and it was worth it to me because I got a custom clutch from the Chubby Bunny that would not have been there on Sunday or Monday when I went back. So I'm glad that I went on Friday and that I got it, because I got the Marriott carpet TARDIS clutch that she makes, and it's beautiful. So I was excited for that. And then Monday had no line at all. Sunday it was a little bit of a wait, but I mean, I like to frequent and visit, and I know people that are there as well. So, and I had a lot of here, I'll make you drink. I had a lot of swag to trade with different vendors as well. So, so I went there to make sure that things that I had made custom for them, I was able to deliver.
Yeah, I went Sunday. It was about 40 minutes. We went early before noon. And again, it was fun for the most part until we got to the freezing floor, and I was so miserable by the end that, you know, like I go around looking at everything and then I go back to make my purchases. We just ended up leaving and I didn't get anything, and I kind of feel bad about that. But I was freezing so bad, and I'm 100% convinced that's where I got the flu.
Yeah, I didn't go to the vendor hall at all this year. I did not have time. And then the day I usually go, I highlighted Patrick's comment a little bit ago saying that he did the vendor hall on Monday and there was no line, and that's when I usually go for the same reason. But by Monday I was just so tired. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. But yeah, I don't usually go until Monday because I refuse to wait in that line. I don't usually. I'm sure, like, I saw some things from vendors that they'd highlighted that I would have liked, but it wasn't anything so pressing. I think, I don't know, I believe it was last year I went and got a special, like, con exclusive t-shirt from my friends who do, I think their business is called Geek Orthodox, because they do a lot of stained glass and stained cling window things. But they did a OFMD t-shirt that's Steed and why am I blanking on his name? Oh my God, the other pirate whose name I'm also still recovering from con crud, so I'm blaming it on that. But it was an OFMD shirt, but for the con exclusive one last year, it was like a shimmery gold print instead of just yellow. And I was like, I need this. So, and I went, weirdly enough, like, even though I went on Monday, I got there, they had one medium left. I was like, yes. So didn't go this year, but oh well, them's the breaks. Now, Becca also mentioned that apparently someone was throwing bottles off the inside of the Marriott and like crushed. Now, this I don't understand. Crushed one of the railings. I don't understand how that could happen really, but I didn't hear about that at all, so I don't know.
I randomly heard that a bottle got thrown, and that's it that I know.
Man, there's always got to be some asshole ruining, like, trying to ruin things for everybody, I guess, you know? Ugh. But okay. Also, more importantly, the good. Oh, wait, Jenna, you're.
Yeah, I thought of one more disaster that occurred in the vendor hall. So Brittany Braun Designs had her cash bag stolen, and they were not able to apprehend the suspect. I know
Oh,
that.
I saw that. I saw the post
Yes.
about that.
So she also has all of her stuff in her shop. Currently, there's a lot of items that she's doing a discount on, trying to make up for it, because I know she's an expecting mother and is really trying to recover, because it was, you know, all of the cash that they had obtained for the weekend that was in that cash bag that they had on them in regards to it. So, you know, you can check her out on her Etsy. I know she's on the Dragon Con artists and vendors page where you can find her and see stuff, but she does the custom fabric skirts with the pockets. She does leggings, and she also has like some hoodies and shirts and things of that nature. But so it wasn't just rooms that had things stolen. Vendors were also affected by it as well.
What's her vendor username or whatever?
Sure, it's Brittany Brittnee Braun Braun Designs DESIGNS
Yeah.
Etsy.com. Yeah. So she's on Etsy. She has a bunch of stuff. She did 50% off after Dragon Con, trying to recover from some of her old inventory. She's got some mixed bags. Her
Okay.
leggings she put on special and stuff like that. But yeah, she was hit from a thief as well.
God, I saw that. I meant to, honestly, I have been sick as well since Dragon Con, which, I mean, I'll get into in a bit when we talk about personal Dragon Con cons, but, yeah, I didn't remember to add that, but I did see that. And I mean, that's so sad, because it's like, I don't know, man. Why are people? That's all I'm going to say. Why are people? So, okay, now moving on to the good stuff, okay? The good, like Dragon Con being Dragon Con stuff. Who all has heard about the Hyatt carpet sprites?
They're
I
so
have
cute.
not.
What are
I
you
have not
talking
heard
about?
about it.
Oh, you haven't?
Drunken Dragon has already started bottling and selling them. Come on. Like, they
Are
are
you shitting
already.
me?
No, I am not.
I can just imagine someone was going around picking them up, being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make a fortune off of these in 5 years.
Well,
Everyone's gonna want one."
but no, he's already released Hyatt carpet gear. He's got a dress that's custom order. Drunken Dragon Hotel. Sven is always on his game. I had the privilege to go to his booth this year. Love him. I've been ordering from him since the pandemic. So love what they do.
Well, I have a bunch of stuff from him too, but also like you're saying Hyatt carpet stuff. I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
talking.
no, he bottled like the little fuzz balls and stuff and started selling them the same way that he sells Marriott carpet scraps and stuff. Yeah. No. There's a whole thing. That's what we're talking about, right? The
Yes.
sprites are the fuzz balls. Yeah. There are
Okay.
people who are trying to sell them on Facebook too.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I know I'm trying to mute myself before I cough that time, but okay. So Manny, because you don't know about this. Before Dragon Con this year, the Hyatt changed their carpeting in the lower levels, like the ballroom and the meeting areas. And they made a post on their Instagram that was like new carpet, new cult of the carpet or something. And of course, most people are like, stop trying to make fetch happen and stop trying to make a new carpet cult happen. Like you can't force it, right?
Yep.
This is not how Dragon Con works.
But it's way better than the poop.
Oh, and also
carpet.
I've said we've been talking about cults for like a minute, so we all have to take
right,
at least 2 or 3 drinks here.
Yep.
But
come on, I will take their carpet is pretty.
It's not the worst. It's a little spinny for me.
It's not the new Marriott.
Yeah,
it's better than that.
So, you know, I'm on the side of yes, stop trying to make cults happen, but also the Hyatt did try to make it happen, and it sort of did, but not in the way they were, not in the way they wanted or expected, because they put this brand new carpet in days before or a week before Dragon Con, right? And they didn't, I guess, realize that the carpet that they purchased had a lot of let's call it fallout, like when you put on eyeshadow and it just gets everywhere, right? People walking over it caused the lint from the carpet to just like rise out of the carpet like little sprites from the Miyazaki. And so people were, I think it started with, now I could be wrong here, but I believe it started with a volunteer who was working the door at the art show and was kind of bored. And from what I read, had just lost their cat right before Dragon Con, or maybe they got a call like a day or two into Dragon Con letting them know, which like RIP their cat. I'm so sorry for this person. But from what I know, it started with this person because they were bored and sad about their cat, and they started collecting the lint, and then they put googly eyes on a ball of lint and named it. I can't remember what they named it, but then it was like they started posting it online and other people started picking it up. And then it just became people were down there collecting lint from the carpet, including apparently Sven from Drunken Dragon Hotel.
I
mean, he may have had an official like dealer for it or something of that nature. Because again, he's still getting new Marriott and used Marriott carpet like patches to sell too. So
I like the meme that's like, oh, let's make a cult. No, not like this. It's the lint ball.
I think,
and it's got the googly eyes, so it's under his googly eye too.
Yeah.
Just...
Well, yeah, you have to tie it back in as much as possible, right? Oh, yep, there we go.
Can we also talk about Wednesday night, the communion and the cults came out on Wednesday night in the Marriott?
I did not know this.
I missed that, but before we do, I have to say one thing. My favorite, there is a group on Facebook called Hyatt Carpet Sprites, And my favorite thing, I haven't checked it in a few days, but when I first joined it, the first thing I saw was a post from somebody that said, the fact that I'm genuinely sad I didn't pick up dirty carpet lint has got to be one of the most ridiculous feelings I've ever felt. And I would like to put that to like the most sad, like tiny violin music, because that is the essence of Dragon Con, but like circa Dragon Con 2023.
I was gonna say that's like the most Dragon Con thing I think I've heard.
Oh Lord. Okay, so sorry, Jenna, what you were saying, was it Jenna, you were saying something about
So
we muted it.
Wednesday
Oh, there you
night, there was the two large cult groups that met. So the Cult of the Carpet, as well as the Cult of John, in the bottom floor of the Marriott. So the Cult of John had their bishops and cardinals and all of their disciples out, and they were giving communion out there for the Cult of John. And then you had your stereotypical um, the Cult of the Carpet that comes out. So they put out the carpet, and then they also put out Trashy in his proper place where he should be, where you can take photos. I know that I have done so in the past, normally not on a Wednesday night, but they were there for Wednesday night. So before the con really kicked off, and they had lines, people lined up for hours. I'm not sure what the communion was that they were giving out, because I stood in line for like 20 minutes and then I jumped out. I think it was Jello shots. It could be, it might be something else. But I was excited to see it, and then very disappointed that John didn't show up at all this year. Nobody remembered to bring an actual John cutout. So
I was wondering about that because Wednesday night or Thursday night, there was a tiny one in the Skybridge between the Hyatt and the Marriott where the regular sized one existed in 2021 and 2022, but there was no full size John. So was that for sure? Like nobody remembered to
oh,
bring it?
he was not brought this year for sure. So I'm not part of that organization as far as like who was supposed to bring it and who forgot or things of that nature, but I've definitely seen it posted on several things. There was definitely a full size one that was forgot to be brought or was not managed to be brought. Maybe they thought everybody else would do one. Because we even had the stand-in. I don't know if you saw the photos, the guy dressed as John who kind of stood there for a long time to kind of take the place. You're muted, Tara.
Yes, I did see him very briefly. I can't remember what day it was, but Skybridge. So I didn't want to, and it was also a day either I was in a rush. I think it might have been Friday. And I was literally running between the Marriott and the Westin for a panel, and I needed to stop in my room. So I was like, I don't have time to stop and take a picture. Also, Ashley had a malfunction with her computer. So hopefully she'll be rejoining us soon. But while we're waiting for her to come back, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. So yeah, I don't know. So I guess like whoever's in charge of, I don't want to say in charge of bringing the John thing, right? Because that seems like weird, but man, can we make sure that happens next year? It felt empty, especially because there were people who were still leaving trash in that corner. Some of it was actually offerings, but there was, as per the usual, just trash for some reason. But still,
I'm gonna blame it on myself because I did not bring my ofrenda candles this year like I did last year and leave them out in time for John to appear.
you didn't summon him.
I did not. I did not summon John. So I will totally take responsibility for that one. I think that we have enough people that we know that we can make sure that some form of stand-in happens. In regards to the future years and making sure that it's not, the ball isn't dropped. But yeah, I will take a little bit of responsibility for not making my prayer candles this year.
Those stand-up things, they're pretty expensive. Like maybe somebody just needs to Kickstart or GoFundMe one. Not Kickstart, GoFundMe. Just do a GoFundMe. Like if you want this at DragonCon, I guarantee you will get enough people to fund the minimal amount that it takes to bring this thing to DragonCon next year.
we also have to find a good enough image, and I think that we all know where we can start in asking, because I think Sven has a really good one as well that maybe he would be willing to let others have to make the cardboard cutout.
Manny, were
Just
you at
test.
Dragon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Manny, were you at Dragon Con the year that FedEx John happened, 2019?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay,
2019. Yeah, because I was there when it started. Like I saw the cardboard cutout before anyone paid attention to it, and I remember looking at it and being like, "Man, I don't know. That's just weird." Like, can you? And I think I was telling Sabrina that when we were walking. I was like, "Can you imagine just being a model and this is like your job, you know? And then you're just like this weird FedEx guy." And then we came back like a few hours later, and there was googly eyes, and then there was like chains on them, and then later that night we came back and there was like a fucking altar, man, with like fucking candles and like all this shit, and I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like fucking let's worship this guy. Like what the fuck, you know? It was really cool.
If you follow the Cult of Dawn Facebook page, the actual actor
Hmm.
icon who portrayed him uh is also a member and has also like thanked everybody. I think
Yep.
the issue now is I don't think he's anymore an employee of FedEx, so I think he's kind of
He kind of can't. Yeah.
disassociated with it because
Yeah.
of that.
I do remember them finding him pretty quickly after he made his rise in 2019. They had found him pretty quickly, and he was pretty surprised as to what was conspiring there. But I'm like, well, shit, man, welcome to Dragon Con. I mean, that's how it happens, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, like we said with the carpet sprites, it might not happen the way you expect it, but it'll happen somehow if you're lucky. Has there been a year? There wasn't a new cult last year though, right? There actually was from 2020. From 2020, that's where 36 dozen eggs came from.
The
But
googly eyes wasn't like an official cult until recently.
eyes,
It's been around a long time, but I haven't seen like the under his googly eyes as a cult.
So Googly Eyes has existed as a cult and actually predates John as a cult, because they would put him in the Sky Bridge at the Hyatt and things beforehand. But they were really embraced as a cult in 2019 when they started doing the association with John as it. But the Googly Eye cult actually predates John by several years.
But were they a
I
cult?
Yeah,
Or was it
yeah,
just people
yes.
putting googly
No,
eyes?
no. There were a bunch of
Okay.
people, and it was like a googly eye thing. Like you would have people hand them out. There were badges, like badge ribbons. There were a lot of things that people did, and then they really became a cult. I would I would say after John, as far as the under his googly eye, but they definitely predated. So we spent a lot of time researching cults this year because that was what we did for Bunny Hutch as a group. So sorry for the double drink, but
Oh, right,
yeah,
right. That's a
so
party.
yeah, yeah.
sorry, I muted myself because somebody showed up at our house, so the dog started barking. But then also I got distracted for half a second because I had to message my neighbor because her cat has been missing for a couple days, and I
No.
just saw it run across the street toward her house. Like I looked up and I saw this big fluffy orange cat like scoot across the street. And I'm like, oh my god, your cat! I just saw it. I hope she sees my message because I want that poor cat. Like it's been gone for like 2 days.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, all right, so Hyatt Carpet Sprites, yeah, they're a thing now. Join the Hyatt Carpet Sprites Facebook group. I don't know if
All
it's
I
going to
can think of
be
is the Ghibli, like the
right,
I don't
right.
even remember what movie it's from, but I know that's what I just see in my head every time I see them.
It's from
Spirited Away. It's
yeah.
the Soot Sprite. It's what
Okay.
you're thinking of.
Mhm.
Because like my under his googly eye tail that I did, all it looked like was the Soot Sprite when I made it. Like that's all I could think of.
Which is funny. So
in regards to that.
your costume technically predated the Hyatt Carpet Sprite.
It did, but
You
I
have
mean,
you
it was
have
black
you have
and not blue,
foresight.
and yeah, no.
Still.
And talking about like cults and trying to make it happen kind of thing. I know like Drunken Dragon and a few others have really tried to make the Poop Lion being beheaded a cult, but I I didn't see it. It wasn't one that like I saw a lot of people like.
You can't
Other
make
than
cults happen. It has to be
yeah,
organic.
they have to yeah.
Well,
So.
and the poop lion thing, we talked about that in the pre-Dragon Con version of this, and it like we were asking, like, is its head back? PS, no, it wasn't. And somebody did put giant googly eyes on it, but I had actually seen something prior to the convention, I think in one of the discussions about how its head had gotten knocked off, that people putting, because people have been putting googly eyes on those poop lions forever, but apparently it's like a big no-no because they are actually art. Like, we might kind of make fun of them a little bit, but they are actually art. And it was like the sticky stuff from the googly eyes was ruining the statue itself, or not ruining, maybe is a hard word, doing damage.
They had to do restoration and cleaning of it. It was a couple $100 every year in damage from the googly eyes is what I read. I think the head being decapitated was actually a delivery truck vehicle who had backed into it, is what I read. Again, I don't have the
Because
article
that
to
was before Dragon
substantiate it.
Con even happened.
Right. It was before, but my understanding was it was an actual collision that occurred with the statue that caused the head to come off. But I do know that the hotel has, the hotel has reported in the past the restoration of the lions after the googly eyes to be able to remove properly the adhesive and things of that nature. It is vandalism and it does cause damage.
Yeah. So that's one of those things, like, come on, people, like, be respectful. I mean, listen, we might make fun of them. They do look silly.
I saw googly eyes on it, to be honest. Like, I didn't see them before.
I've seen them several years.
Yeah,
and I stay at the Marriott, so like I walk out that way quite a bit, probably more than.
I have a feeling they probably have people removing them as quickly as they can after they get put on, which is why maybe it's not common knowledge that people keep sticking googly eyes to them. But, you know, there's very few times where I'm like, come on, Dragon Con people, be respectful. But this is one of them. I know we all make fun of them. I know it's weird art, but it is art. It is somebody's creation. So be cool, you know? Okay. We've lost Ashley again. Other Dragon Con being Dragon Con things. Was this or was this not? The answer is yes, it was the year of the badge ribbon. And listen, I know that badge ribbons have been a thing for a long time. Okay, that's not a question. I understand that they have been around for a very long time, but it seems that they've been getting like progressively more and more popular since 2021. Maybe it would have started in 2020 if we'd actually had a convention, a Dragon Con that year. But since 2021, it's been just more and more people are making badge ribbons. And this year, I swear, I don't know if I know a person who didn't bring badge ribbons other than maybe you, Manny, but you know, this was your first year back since 2019.
And it was actually my first year having ribbons on my badge ever, you know, and I was going since 2012, and it was the first year I actually had ribbons, you know, and like everybody was having, you know, just kind of handing them out and shit, you know, so it was cool.
Right. Yeah. So this is the first year that I ever made badge ribbon. And this would be probably the year that I got the largest stack of ribbons. In regards to it, I've gotten like a handful in the past, a few here and there. Never really like sought them out. I know the what is it? The Loyal Order of the Ribbon is their own cult. They've been around for many years. They do their own meetups, and things of that nature. But this year was weird. I don't know if anybody else had the issue with it, but normally with ribbons, you just give them out. There's nothing expected, but a lot of people were hesitant in taking them this year, in my opinion. Like, they were like, oh, I don't have anything else to give you or trade. And it's like, no, that's not what this is. And so that was a weird feeling from other years. Normally people take swag and they take ribbons, and it's not like this idea of trading for them. So that was something weird that like I had to kind of get my brain around. Was no, I don't need to trade with you. I'm giving this to you.
Yeah, I didn't really experience that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of people who I didn't know give me, badges. I think anyone who gave me one, like I think I got like a Barbie one at some point from somebody I didn't know, but for the most part, everyone who gave me, I knew them. They were just like, oh, hey, here, so they were like my
Oh,
friends.
So
all of
I
mine were strangers with the exception of Tara's and so, and I have my favorite one. Can I show you my favorite one?
Yeah.
for it.
Did anybody else
Oh,
get
that is
Cat's
so
I don't
Marriott
have
cute.
that
carpet
one.
cat?
No, that's cute.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah, no.
want that.
Cat Cantrell, I believe it's her name, did those this year. And she's looking for suggestions for the animal that'll go on next year's. But I didn't even
I
get it
have
from
the
her
this is
directly.
squirrel.
So that's what I should ask her for, right? Scroll ones. And then my second favorite one, I met them at a swag and seat meetup, but I love this one too. So that one was one of my second favorites. But I have Tara's here and other ones, and like I said, I made my first ones this year. So yes, I would say ribbons are definitely becoming bigger for
Yeah.
sure.
I've had
I
them in previous years, but I like always forgot to carry them with me. I have some Ice and FireCon ones. I actually have a crap ton, I think, of Ice and FireCon ones and Westeros musical ones, like just stored in my house somewhere. And I meant to bring them this year and I forgot, but I already had the Drinkin Con ones, which I handed out to a lot of people, and also our Dragon Con disaster movie ones, which I probably should have handed out more because yeah, like I have a crap ton of those left. So next year those are just going to be like willy-nilly. Like maybe you won't understand this, maybe you will, but and Ashley, you had a lot of
oh
what
I just
ribbons
go
did you have? And I'm already getting ready to drink for the ones you gave away.
I don't know if you got you just whatever.
Yeah, Crab Rave.
So I don't like for me it's I don't go to the meetups. I just want to get the ribbons from the groups that I'm participating in.
Yeah.
So
I what do you have
this
mine
was
on
the
there?
first year I did ribbons myself. I went to FanFest, which is a Final Fantasy convention, drink, a month before. So I had thought that they were going to be badges there. They weren't. There were wristbands instead, but there were a few people who also assumed there would be badges. So I made a bunch of ribbons. I'm like thinking, okay, I'll have some for FanFest and then I'll have some for Dragon Con. But then I go to FanFest and I'm like, I'm shy. And just being like, hey, take a ribbon and just to random people was kind of awkward. So I didn't give a lot out there, but I had enough for Dragon Con. And like this year, it exploded, the ribbons. I got a bunch last year and I was like, I really want to do it this year. So I did it. And I did it for Final Fantasy. And it was really awesome because, instead of being in a giant crowd of people where it's just like, who do I give this to? But you go to the meetups, to the photo shoots, and that's where you give them out because then you're in like, your people and
Just naturally, like I hand them out in the hallway anytime that I saw. So your last ribbon on yours is the one I made. I made it under his googly eye because it was easy to carry well in bunny. And so anytime I saw anyone with anything FedEx or anything googly eye, I just started handing them
there we
out.
go.
So yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of. I was in a Fire Emblem group, so I have a lot of Fire Emblem ones. I have a lot of Final Fantasy ones. I have a lot of Hazbin Hotels. That was another group I was in. I have a lot, like basically every group that I was in, people there were like, "Hey, you're in costume. Take a ribbon," and I'm just like, "Yes, I
Yeah.
will." And like, this is insane. Like, my
Oh.
ribbons have never been anywhere near this before. Like,
Mine
I've had
is
like
worse.
maybe this before.
Right.
But now it's like
I'm not going. My badge is away, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm not going to get it. But if I were to put my badge around my neck right now, my ribbons would reach past my knee, and that's with like you did, doubling them up on the sides. And I actually still have a stack, maybe half an inch at least high of ribbons that I stopped putting them on my badge because I'm the type of person that I usually tie my lanyard around my bag strap and tuck it into my bag. Well, that I couldn't do that this year because I had too many ribbons. So I'm rethinking my ribbon strategy for
I
next
didn't
year for
realize
sure.
I was putting all my ribbons on just straight down, and then I'm like, holy, I can't manage this anymore. I made a mistake. And that's when I started putting them on the side. But now I just have to keep my badge in my purse because I couldn't leave it out because the ribbons were just too long, and I hadn't considered that when I was putting them all on.
Yeah, no, you don't think about it. You're like, yes, cool. I got another ribbon. This is great. And then you're like, fuck, what am I going to do with this nonsense?
I will say the most awesome thing that happened to me this weekend, or Dragon Con weekend, the most awesome, sorry to cut you off, I just wanted to share this one story, was I did make these ones, the Final Fantasy one, but hearing someone say when I gave them the ribbon, them saying, oh, I've been wanting this one. That was like the best moment of the entire week.
So they saw it. So they saw it somewhere else. They saw somebody else have that badge ribbon, and they were like, "Where did they get that? I need that badge ribbon."
Yeah, that was like the highlight of the entire con. Was like, "Oh, my ribbon's popular." Sorry, I've been drinking.
I've been drinking. And yeah, you also mentioned Final Fantasy again. Thanks for that. So thanks for that. I highlighted Patrick's comment a moment ago, but for podcast reasons, Patrick said this was his first year getting ribbons, and he got like 4 or 5. So he's like, I do feel like they're becoming a bigger thing, and I'm just like, oh, dude, Patrick, maybe you just didn't meet the right people or go to the right places, but. Everywhere I went, there was somebody with a stack of ribbons trying to give them out. And next year, I'm definitely making Hyatt Legacy Room HOA ribbons.
Do I count? I sublease mine. Do I count?
So yes, that counts. So drink, because I mentioned Legacy Rooms, but also
I went to the Has-Been photo shoot, and I got like 6 ribbons just from being like a part of that photo shoot. Like some photo shoots are just people are just like
the Barbie one was that one.
Yeah, if you're part of the fandom and they see that you're part of the fandom and you go to the meetup, then it's just like free reign. You're gonna get so many.
Yeah. I've already thought of like 10 different designs for next year. Like I will have lots of ribbons. Ribbons are not normally a thing that I make, but they are an easy thing to carry and carry a lot of. So I will definitely join in on making a lot more for next year.
And I will say, for anybody who is listening to this and is interested, just do a quick Google search online, and they are not expensive. You can get like a stack of 100 for about $60.
Yeah. And also, I will forever suggest our friend Chuck. His site is, I believe, fandomaniacs.com. I'm not wearing it right now, but he makes the Gang Goes to Dragon Con t-shirts. He does our Ice and Fire Con merch stuff for us, but he also does badge ribbons. So he did my Drinkin'. Yeah, he did Jenna's under his googly eye ones, and he did my Drinkin' Con and Dragon Con Disaster Movie ones. And I believe
they're more reasonable than what Ashley said.
Yeah.
As far as his per 100, I think they're closer to 50 for 100 from him for full color, which was really nice. So.
Yeah, so he's really great, easy to work with. I mean, I ordered mine like 3 weeks before Dragon Con and picked them up from him at Dragon Con. So yeah. All right.
Also, mentioning those t-shirts, our most popular t-shirt was "The Gang Goes to Dragon Con."
For real. When actually
I started seeing people rip them off for other things. Like
the Gang Goes to Dragon Con shirts. I mean, it's
but
not ripping it off. It's
no, but like they definitely like did their own like spins of them, and they were definitely not. They were homebrew. That you could tell they were homebrew, but it's definitely like incited people to do their own thing with them.
Well, when we first wore those at Dragon Con 2018, I believe it was Dragon Con 2018, right? There were people who made their own and were trying to sell them. And it was just like, but they were charging some insane amount of money too. I was like, dude, I got these made for like less than $15 a shirt. And they were, I don't know if they were making them on like custom ink or whatever, but it's also like, this has been the cover photo for one of my Dragon Con groups that I created since like 2014 or 2015. And this 2018 was the first year we decided to make those shirts, but like, don't take my idea and try to make money off of it. Okay. But that said, yes, as Ashley noted, I've been wearing my Gang Goes to Dragon Con t-shirt on Wednesday of Dragon Con every year since 2018. And this year, Ashley walked away, of course, but it must have been Wednesday night. Wednesday night, Ashley got there kind of late, and we went out and just in, like shorts or whatever, and our Gang Goes Dragon Con t-shirts. And we had so many people asking to take pictures of us. And I was like, this hasn't happened in a long time. I don't know what the difference is between like 2018, 2019, 21, 22, and now, but I think we must have gotten stopped by like 30 people at least who wanted to take our picture.
21, 22, and this year is about 30,000. So that's the
difference. Yeah, but it was also Wednesday night, like it wasn't.
But people now are realizing that Wednesday is the Thursday. So like there are a lot more people showing up for Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays than ever did before.
Yeah, I don't know. I still find it odd that out of the blue, because like we wore them in 2019, and I don't know. Whatever. I'm not arguing with it. It was just like, really, you just want to take a picture of my friend and I in our t-shirts? Cool. Oh, Ashley, you missed it. I was talking about how we had like, I don't know, what do you think? At least 30 people asked to take our picture. And then like, as soon as somebody else asked, then there were like 10 other people standing around taking our picture. And I'm like, we're literally just wearing a t-shirt. Oh, yeah. I don't have mine. It's packed away.
Okay, so we got like random things given to us when we were wearing the shirt on the, what was it, Wednesday or Thursday? It was Wednesday night, right?
It was Wednesday.
Yeah, there was anyways, we got given this, and as a Game of Thrones person, I'm thinking, ooh, yay, dragon egg. Not expecting what was inside of it. There were some interesting people out Wednesday night. I'm just going to preface that. It was, it's a flying fuck.
Yeah.
We're not going to, this needs to be blurred out for YouTube.
But yeah, we're not going to say what it is. If you can't see it,
if you can't, sorry.
If you can't see it, we're not going to talk about what it is, but it's a dingle hopper with wings that represents a flying fuck.
We were also given other things that we threw out because do not accept edibles from strangers, people, please.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, don't give them out. If you are a person who thinks that you are being a kind person and giving these to strangers, don't do that. You're just making them uncomfortable. And
Tara, what year was 2.5 Strikes linked? What year was it?
2018.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
So we printed lots of rupees, like 3D printed plastic rupees. I went to hand them to a girl as swag, and she was like, I don't normally do this, and went to put it in her mouth, and I was like, please don't eat it. Please do not eat it. I'm not making things for you to eat. Like, it was a pretty gem. I'm so sorry that you thought it was an edible. Like, that is not what I tried to give out.
Also, if you go to Dragon Con, like, yes, everyone's nice, but don't eat things from strangers. Please do not eat anything from a stranger, even if they are nice.
I ate a sugar baby from Doctor Who fans are a little different, so
I don't know.
I love Dragon Con peeps. I think some of the nicest people are out there, and I'm sure a lot of these people have just like the most wonderful intentions, but be safe. Just don't take the risk, even if they seem like the nicest person in the world and don't seem to have any negative reasons.
I mean, I'll be real. I am entirely certain that this person had no, like, I think they were completely just being like, hey, I'm a fun person, you're a fun person, have this. I don't think there was anything, seedy about it or whatever. But also, man, like, as a femme presenting person, I ain't ever gonna drink or eat something that someone's given me that's not completely sealed in its original packaging. That's what she said. That's what
And
they
like
said.
in the end, it's like it's amazing that like you have to like say that out loud, right? It's like somebody just hands you some random like, drugs, and it's like, look, dude, like even if they're like if their intentions are pure, like you don't know how that was mixed. You don't know how your body's going to react to it. I mean, you can be jumping off the 40th floor by the time the night's over for all you know. Like there's probably just stay away from, anything that you just don't know how it's made.
I totally believe this guy had the best intentions. I don't think he was a negative person, but like you just can't take that risk. It just
Yeah, it's not even about the person who like because look, I got handed a lot of stuff this year. Like a lot of stuff by very nice people who just wanted me to have a good time. So, like generally in Dragon Cons in the past, I've always been kind of like with crowds of people. This was like one of the first Dragon Cons since 2012 that I kind of just rolled by myself. So I walked around and when you walk around by yourself, people know. And they're like, this motherfucker's going to have a good time. Like we're going to bring this guy in and he's going to have it. So everyone I talked to was always like, no, 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 no. You're going to have a good time tonight. You can't just be by yourself, like everybody was extremely sweet. And I got handed a lot of stuff and it was very sweet. I even faked that I ate a few of them just to fake it because I wanted them to feel like, hey, because I really did appreciate it. Because there was a lot of times that I was by myself, like before I got drunk and I got comfortable, where I was very like self-conscious and I wanted to just go home because I was like, I don't know anybody here and I don't know what I'm doing here, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know, but so. But they
I'm
did
over here
really...
like, wait, where were you? Because like I definitely hung out with you
Come to
till
us.
very, very, very
No.
late in the night, Friday, Saturday. Well,
Well,
Saturday
you
and Sunday
did.
for sure.
No, you did because you got me like at the good times to where it was like, okay, I've drank enough, I'm loosened up now, like so you got me at the good times. This is like the pre-nighttime vibes, where it's not quite night yet. I'm just kind of walking around by myself and eating shitty cheeseburgers and stuff, and but yeah, but a lot of people, I would hang out like in the smoking section and stuff, and like a lot of people came up to me and they just started talking to me and they knew I was by myself and they're just like, and they're like, tell their friends to come over and their friends are coming over and we're just all talking about stuff, Final Fantasy, all that kind of stuff, and it was really cool. They made a really good job of making me feel welcome, But in saying that, I mean, number one, I can't do any like weed type of stuff or CBD or anything. Like I just don't trust. I have the complete opposite effect. Like with that stuff, I've always been like I get like manic and and paranoid. But I'm not going to tell someone, hey, wait a minute, this stuff is bad for me. Like no, it's really, because to me the way I see it, it's like it's really sweet that these people found this stranger. And they're like, man, we just want him to have a good time too. And to me, I'm like, that's just like pure love. So I'm not going to be like, oh no, don't do that. Like no, okay, cool, and so I don't know. It was sweet, but yeah, I guess the point of it is just don't eat things from strangers because everything affects. And you're right. There's a lot of people that I'm willing to believe that 99.9% of them are totally well intentioned. But the fact of the matter is that you don't know how your body's going to react to it, and their body reacts differently. And I'm a small dude also on top of it, so it's like I can't be taking what they take,
Oh,
like
I mean, I've had people like offer me drinks from their flasks or from like, I think I had a friend one time, like actually somebody I am friends with who I know who had pie in like a Camelback. But like with Camelbacks, you have to suck it out, and
Yeah,
I like, I'm not like, listen, I trust
done
these
things I
people.
probably shouldn't have done in the past. At
Yeah,
Dragon Cons
see,
in terms of
I'm
accepting drinks.
I am not that person. Even if I trust you, if somebody else's mouth, even yours, unless you're like my significant other, has touched that thing, my mouth ain't going on it just because I don't want to catch con crud, which again, I'll get
We're in a
into.
post-COVID world now.
Well, no, but I was always like that. I would never share I would never share a cup, a straw, a utensil, anything with somebody, no matter how well I knew them, unless like if it's my significant other, it's like, I'm already kissing you. So there's that. But like outside of that, no, absolutely not. My mouth ain't touching things that even a friend might have, been putting their mouth on. Because I'm very, I do not want to call it OCD because I know it is not something I am diagnosed with, right? But I am so afraid of getting sick. I do not have time to get sick. And I don't know. That actually kind of leads me into, we're going to go into, and let's keep this as short as possible, please, because I have way more pros than cons, but we're going to go into a little bit of personal things, Dragon Con cons. And so I'm going to start with just going over the things that I experience actually at the convention, and then I'll talk about the other stuff. But not shockingly, Dragon Con was much more crowded this year than it was the past 2 years, which I expected. I think the only issue I had was there seemed to be a problem with where they were having people line up for things, because Friday afternoon, I was trying to get to a 1 p.m. panel at the Marriott from the Hyatt. I left the Hyatt at 12:47. I made it to the panel 2 minutes beforehand, and about 6 or 7 minutes of that time was because I got stuck in this Hyatt's Marriott Sky Bridge because there was a line, and there was no badge checks, which is my other complaint. I literally never once had my badge checked coming into the Marriott from the Hyatt Skybridge. Not once all weekend.
You're right. I didn't either, actually. Now when I think about it, I didn't either.
And so it wasn't even that. It was people lining up maybe for the blood drive. I don't even know. Somebody else said they were actually lining up for like a panel or an activity or something. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, who was organizing that shit? Why was this line in the Skybridge? Why did it take me? Why did I literally just stand in a line for like 6 or 7 minutes to get between? And normally I am actually very good about leaving my room at least 15 minutes before a panel starts. Like I am almost always at least 5 minutes before the panel starts. But this time I rolled in at like 12:58 and they're like, "Oh, there you are." And I'm like, oh my God, I would have been here like 5 or 6 minutes ago if it weren't for this crazy just traffic jam in that Sky Bridge.
I gave
that
up
guy-
on the Hilton 2 Marriott one on the first day. After the Friday, I just was going outside.
There were several times at that Sky Bridge, there were no lines anywhere. It was just the shuffle to get in. That it was like I waited for 20 minutes to get in from the Hyatt to the Marriott back to my hotel room on, I want to say that was Friday or Saturday night. And it was not because of anything that was explainable. It was just crowds. And it was the fact that like people don't like to queue as well, because you would get the people who would like cut around people and then they would clog it up more. And it's like, just zipper, like learn common decency. Like it is fine. Just wait your turn. What?
I can't remember if it was Saturday for our 11:30 a.m. panel or Sunday for our 1 p.m. panel, but there was one day that Nami and I were those people because we left. Now I agree with Ashley. I just stopped using the Sky Bridge. If I had to get somewhere, I went down the floor to the Hyatt outside, down the outside stairs through.
And then out by the poop lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the days I was walking with Nami, I like I said, I don't know if it was Saturday 11:30 a.m. or Sunday for our 1 p.m. panel, but the line, like we entered the Sky Bridge. I think it must have been Saturday because it was like before the parade was over. So we entered the Sky Bridge thinking there wouldn't be that many people in it, but we entered the Sky Bridge and there was nobody that we could see in line. As soon as we turned the corner, it was just completely backed up. And Nami just bowled her way through. And I was like, I'm just following you. Like, I'm glad she could do it because I couldn't have. And if it had been me by myself, I would have gone outside. But Nami was in full, yes, it was absolutely Saturday because Nami was in full Shadow and Bone gear. And she was like, I'm not going outside in this. in like this wool kefta, you know. So yeah, it must have been Saturday, but so we were those people that were just like skirting around and being like, sorry.
The other way, a little earlier during the parade, was not bad, going from the Marriott to the Hyatt, because I know I stood outside at the Hyatt while I was dressed up as Squirrel Girl to hand out
No,
things at
it was
time.
almost never backed up going from the Marriott to the Hyatt. It was only the Hyatt to the Marriott, and that's
Yeah,
why
it was going to Marriott.
I feel
The
like it was
one
something
night
to
that it
do
was
with
a like
But
20-minute
Marriott
wait, it was
to
both
Hilton
ways.
was also bad, like the entire weekend. Like,
oh yeah,
I just never tried it.
I don't do
I
that
didn't
one.
have trouble with that. We did that one a few times, especially for photos and things of
Mhm.
that nature, and I didn't
Like,
have
I was always going
the
for
same
photo shoots,
issue.
and I was in a rush to get there on time, and I was like, nope, we're not even trying for that nonsense. Go down an extra floor and just cross the crosswalk.
Yeah,
I think-
It
go
was
at the back
nonsense.
and
But they were checking badges going into the Hilton, but not the other way. Going into the Marriott,
And
I don't remember
it's
anyone
funny because
checking.
I feel like they were checking badges from Peachtree back into the Marriott. Because I remember that, but I don't think I got badge checked between Hyatt and Marriott, or Marriott and Hyatt either.
I think well, and also Manny and I actually went to the Hilton on Friday, and it really wasn't that bad. But it was, I don't remember what time it was. It must have been, had to have been after my 3 back-to-back panels. So
It was, yeah.
yeah, so after like 5:30.
Yeah.
And
It
it
wasn't that
wasn't that
bad when we
bad.
went through. Yeah, it wasn't that bad when we went through it.
But I mean, I guess maybe the Marriott, I don't know if they were understaffed or whatever, security wise, Dragon Con / the Marriott, but maybe they were just assuming that once the secret food court, quote unquote, secret food court. I don't know why people still call it that when it's like totally not a secret anymore. But once that was closed, by like Friday evening, anybody who's coming in, if they were checking badges from the Peachtree side of the Marriott Skybridge, then I know they were also checking badges from the Hyatt, like from the little bridge that goes from the Peachtree to the Hyatt. So they're assuming that if you're getting into the Marriott, you're getting in from ground level, which they were definitely checking badges, or the Hilton, which they were definitely checking badges. But once you're in the Marriott, they're like, we don't give a shit. So I don't know. I mean, in past years, like that's the thing that's been holding it up, is them checking badges from the Hyatt to Marriott Skybridge, and it was just like weird that it was so backed up. And I don't know if it's like the little Star Wars robot thing or the blood drive or whatever, but they need to do something
there's
about
something
that.
about that area in the middle there that just blocks people. And whenever I get there, I'm like, why is this making a congestion? I don't know.
But
Friday
okay.
night, I totally understood what it was though. A dude had a live squirrel with him and was like standing in the middle, and it was amazing, and I loved it.
I mean, I feel like
was
wasn't the
I
reason
was
for the
there
entire
for that.
weekend, but maybe for your experience. But also, that's kind of awesome.
This is squirrel year and also badge ribbon year. All right. So does anybody else have? Well, I know Manny, you have some Dragon Con cons.
I do, and this is like the first time that I kind of seen it happen, and I feel bad about saying it, but I feel like the photographers, I literally drove me absolutely fucking bonkers this year. Like, I don't know if I just fell into sync with them, so I was always like right behind them, but it's like we're walking, there's a crowd with literally 100 people behind me. I mean, we're just trying to get, and they would literally see someone in costume stop and then like turn right there. And they're just and I'm like, there's like 100 people behind me. So after a while, when I had a little bit of the liquid courage, like I just started walking in front of their shots, and they were giving me looks, and I'm like, pal, I said, there's 100 people behind us that we're trying to go, and you're stopping to do a 10-minute photo shoot. And it's cool. Look, if you want to take pictures, man, look, there's a lot of room that you can just walk forward. But they wanted to get this like certain angle, and I'm like, guy, and I think honestly, like that was like my only real pet peeve was that. And really, like when I was in the walkway, when I was just in the Marriott trying to get from point A to point B, people would stop in front of me and start talking to someone else. And that's fine, but there's like a bunch of people behind me. We're just trying to walk, and you're like in the main artery and you're stopping everything so you can talk to someone. Which, look, you want to talk to your friend, that's totally cool. I did it, but just, move a little bit over so everybody can keep going. And it was creating this crazy congestion. And I'm just like, and it was the first Dragon Con that I've been to where I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like these people that were doing this were like absent minded because I had never experienced that before. And I'm like, do you have no idea that you're at a main artery and there's like 1,000 people trying to come through here right now?
I wonder if they're like too used to COVID and don't realize, hey, we're back to normal traffic
Yeah.
now.
Yeah,
and you can't do that anymore.
I was gonna
Almost
say,
normal.
I think it's like a combination of new people who were
Yeah.
able to get in the past few years who had never been before because like people were canceling their hotel rooms and stuff. And also just the past 2 years, it was so much less crowded. And
I mean,
yeah.
we're still not at like 2018 levels.
They
no,
will
People
not.
who-
They've
who-
already
who
said they
get-
will not go back to that.
oh,
Oh,
God,
that's good.
I
Thank
fucking
you.
hope not.
They
Like-
that Dragon Con has said that they do not want to return to 2018 and 19 levels, and that they will continue to limit badges to keep it special.
Bless.
Hallelujah.
Bless.
I will say, Manny, I don't think I was one of your problems. I'm the type of person, if I see somebody walking the other way, I U-turn it and I walk with them and we settle it outside of that area.
Yeah.
Same with when I hand out swag. If somebody recognizes me and I'm going to give them swag, I go and I walk with you, even if it's going to cause me 20 more minutes of travel, because like you just have to have common courtesy for other people, and
The habit trail
that
is not a
doesn't
place
seem
for photos.
No.
so common, does
And
it?
I feel like a lot of people were like that. Like it's funny because when I was in the dealer's room, people were doing that a lot, And I was like, and I always walk in the middle. I don't walk near the booths unless I want to go to a booth because people stop, they want to look, and you can't blame them for stopping. They want to look, and that's a congested. So I'd go in the middle, and people would stop right in front of me, and just kind of look in a distance, and I'm just kind of like, and I would move around them, and there was 2 times where someone looked back at me and gave me a comment like, "Oh, am I just in your way?" And it's like, and I would tell them, "Yeah, absolutely, you are. Like you're in the middle. There's a bunch of people behind me too because I don't want to get in their way, and I'm trying to walk, and you're stopping." So, and I got a little loud about it one time where I literally was like, "Oh no, wait, everyone stop!" I told everyone to stop. I was like, "Everyone stop. This person in the middle wants to take a look. Let them take a look. Everyone stop what you're doing." And they got like real red faced and was just kind of like, I'm like, okay, well, like you asked for it, like I'm not trying to be a dick here, but you're being an asshole to me. And I didn't even say anything to you. I didn't say, hey, get out of the way. I just tried to just move around you. Let me just move around and get out of their way. And it's like, you're going to give me lip for that? And it drove me nuts because it was the first Dragon Con where I experienced something like that, and I don't know. So
I really
I think it's a lot of new people.
yeah, I think so too.
It's a lot of new people combined with also the sort of loss of awareness of being around other people because of the things that happened. So, the only other bad thing I want to talk about, this is the first time I have gotten sick from a convention and I'm
lucky you.
yeah, no, I this is the first time I have gotten sick from a convention in probably 6.5 years. No, actually more than that. No, I think it was actually more than that. I think the last time I got sick at a convention or well, I didn't want to say at, but like from a convention was Ice and FireCon 2016, which was absolutely because I went from Florida to South Carolina to Virginia and it was super cold and rainy in Virginia for Ice and FireCon 2016. That was the last time I got sick from a convention because again, I have always been super careful about just I don't share things with people. I don't I that's just not who I am. And I eh, I mean, and last year, like I kind of assumed I would get sick last year, but I think the only reason I didn't was because I still had to wear masks for something, like for being in the panels when I was actually like really close to people and stuff. No, actually, that's not even that can't even be the case because like
No,
we had
because
our
we
room
had
party.
COVID.
Yeah, and I
And you didn't get it.
well, but
despite you
I had
being
had
right beside us.
COVID. Yeah, I had caught COVID from my step kid earlier, like in January of that year. So I think I just still had antibodies. But I actually came home from Dragon Con and I was fine Monday, fine Tuesday, woke up Wednesday morning feeling like absolute trash. Then a couple days later got exposed to somebody and I took 2 COVID tests and both were negative. I started feeling better and then all of a sudden like I started feeling better last weekend and then all of a sudden got exposed to somebody who had been exposed to COVID and then we both had COVID and I'm just like I didn't have COVID from Dragon Con. I had it because my immune system was trash because I got something else from Dragon Con. And I just am I think like today was the first day I woke up not just like having to blow my nose 60 times. So
Yeah.
I'd like to follow up on
for
that.
clarification, I was staying with Tara and I had the flu, but like my husband and I, after multiple tests, none of us were positive for COVID. We had something else. It was like the flu, but we were sick for a whole week after.
Yeah, I'd like to point out the
had
fact
the
that
flu.
like, yeah,
Sorry, I just
you're muted.
Can't hear you.
yeah.
No, still muted. Jenna tested positive for the flu. I know this because Jenna told me she tested positive for the flu.
I'm still convinced it was the dealer's room that like knocked my immune system out of whack for that day, and that's kind of made me susceptible.
But Manny, you on our Drinkin Con.
This is the best part, exactly. Like I've been to so many conventions and a lot of Dragon Cons, and I have never gotten sick at any point. All my friends were always like, "Oh, sick," and all this kind of stuff, and I went this time, and I do remember talking to my friend Mike, and he's like, Manny, man, you know what we're getting for free this weekend? I'm like, what? He's like, COVID. And I'm like, okay, dude. And I felt fine the whole weekend. Monday I came home, went grocery shopping, felt great. Tuesday night, bro, I felt like I was going to die. That shit lasted like 8 days. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember I haven't been that sick since like 2009 when my friend went to Puerto Rico and came back and gave us something, you know, where everybody got sick at the place I used to work.
Wait, so did you test positive
did you
for
test
COVID?
positive? Yeah.
No, I did not. So
Okay.
I took it twice and I didn't have it. But I was talking to someone who did have it and they were like, "Oh, you got to do like the one that's like the oral one because it'll come up positive, no doubt." Now, I know I'm going to tell you right now, I'm very hypersensitive towards my body. I have no doubt that this was COVID. I've been sick before, and this was not like anything like that I've ever felt. This was something new, like brand new, that it wasn't the flu. I've had the flu before, like in my life. This was not the fucking flu, you know? Like, I literally, like, wearing clothes was a problem for me.
Oh,
you know?
yes, that's absolutely COVID.
Yeah,
like the first time I had COVID, like anything touching, it was like I was so cold and I needed to be warm and
you couldn't.
Yep.
And it was like the skin sensitivity was absolutely bonkers. It was absolutely crazy. And I had never felt anything like that, like ever, where I was like, oh my God. And I mean, I got the most sleep that I think I've probably have gotten in months, you know, because I would pass out at 7:00 at night and then wake up. And I've never been sick for like that long either. Even when I had the flu, you know, the last time I had the flu was probably 2009. Like that was the last time I had a fever, probably was like 2009. And I always beat it within a day or two. It's like, okay, yeah, like I feel like crap the first day. The second day I feel okay. Third day, fine. Because any kind of like going out things or like Dragon Con and stuff, I've never been super cautious about germs and stuff because to me it's like that's like the Pokemon stage, right? Where it's like now we're gonna see what my body can do. Now we're gonna see. Let's see how strong we actually are. And but no, this time, man, Tuesday night, wrecked. I was just like, and halfway through it, I remember laying in my couch and being like, what if I don't recover from this? Like, what if this kills me? Like how sad, Like, I wish I would have went out.
You went out with Dragon Con.
Yeah, exactly. But
That was
yeah,
last year. Last year I had COVID after Dragon Con. This year I think it was the flu. It was definitely different from last year.
Yeah, whatever I had, because like I said, I took two different tests. And they both came back negative. When I was actually super sick, that Wednesday, and I took one. I don't even remember, but I took two tests and they were both negative. And I was like, when I was feeling my worst, I was like, this is not COVID. This doesn't feel like COVID at all. And then I started feeling better. And then on Monday, I woke up feeling like crap after the day before. Somebody I've been around was like, who was not at Dragon Con, by the way, was like, I don't feel great. And we both tested positive for COVID on Monday. And I was like, So I think what happened was my immune system was shot from con crud, which I'm blaming on Patrick right now.
I'm still blaming the dealer's room.
Was it Patrick? Did I get it from Patrick too?
I'm blaming it on Patrick because he's the only one I shared anything with. He's in the chat too, so I'm waiting for him to be like, "What? No." But I mean, I'm joking though. It could have been from freaking anybody at Dragon Con that I got some sort of like just close to somebody who had a cold or whatever. I don't know what I had, but it was not COVID. And then I got exposed to COVID while I was just recovering from that. And then I got COVID. So that's been my last 2 weeks. But okay, I want to close out this COVID conversation because I hate it so much. Jenna, did you have anything you wanted to say? Because you bowed out for a second, you got kicked out or whatever.
Hope I'm not muted still because it was having issues.
No, you're good.
Okay, perfect. No COVID for me. I did have the flu, unfortunately, but that was it. My COVID test, both at home and at the doctor's, came back negative. Didn't get double plagues, so I will take flu over COVID any day, though. So
yeah.
All right. If we're talking about negatives, I will say this year I decided to try to go easy on the cosplay, and my philosophy was I had one kind of, costume that was more than just easy. But everything else was really easy, and I regret doing that. I do. I felt really sad and unnoticed around the con, and as a cosplayer, that kind of sucked. Like as someone who usually does have a lot of costumes and puts a lot of effort into them. Yeah, going easy to try to make, Dragon Con is such a everything that you're like, okay, I'll just go easy and just deal with the crowds and hanging out with friends and whatnot. But I regret it. I wish I kind of went a bit harder on the costumes. And that's my negative of the Dragon Con experience.
I've been so busy. Well, that's not even true. Not in 2021, but last year and this year, I was so busy with panels that it's like, I don't have time to like cosplay a ton, but I do regret that this year I didn't get to any photo shoots. I didn't like everything. All my panels just conflicted with anything I'd want to do in that respect. I didn't have enough free time literally at any point to like go get pictures with Brian Humphreys. So that kind of sucked, but I mean, that's on me, not on, the convention.
Yeah. It's not on the convention. Sure. It was just like to talk to people who are considering it. If you were a cosplayer, but you're thinking like, oh, well, Dragon Con is such a hectic thing, I'm just going to go easy on it. You'll be disappointed. It's not the same experience, and I regret not putting the effort in because no one notices you. You're just like this one person in a crowd, and it kind of sucks if you're a cosplayer who's used to getting your photo taken.
Aw.
All right. Okay. Dragon Con pros. I got a good number of them. But first of all, hi, Barbies.
Hi, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie!
I
Hi,
literally,
Barbie.
I have 2 pink shirts or maybe 3, but one of them is like, no, I have 4. I have 4 pink shirts, but 2 of them are like warm weather or cold weather shirts. So it's too hot for that. And one of them is in the wash. So I'm wearing Don't Make Me Go Beth Dutton on You shirt right now. But it is
I wish I
technically,
wore the one that I made that was Barbie.
but
I
it is
didn't
technically pink.
realize.
But honestly, please let this continue to be a thing at Dragon Con and at every fucking convention, because this was like the most positive affirmation that, and not just for me, as far as I could tell, if you could literally be wearing anything that had pink in it, or you could just show up and like talk to people who are dressed as Barbie and they would be like, hi, Barbie. But like, none of it was sarcastic. It was all just, I love the movie so much. And also, by the way, Manny, it is available to watch now. So we definitely need to do our podcast on it that we
Please,
talked
yes,
about.
yes.
But like, God, the positive energy that happened at Dragon Con because of that movie has me just like emotional. It really does. Like, I wasn't even dressed in pinks, 90% of the weekend, but I had my little pink cowboy hats and I was handing them out to anybody I saw dressed like, obviously Barbie, like they were just little plastic pink cake topper cowboy hats. And people were so freaking excited when I was like, hey, here you go. Like the positive freaking energy. I'm not the only one, right?
No, there was a lot of positive energy with that. Absolutely. 100%.
You definitely probably got it more than most, though, being blonde. Because I will say, even being dressed in Barbie, not being blonde, did not get as much as other peers who were blonde
Really?
around me at the same time, even at the photo shoot and stuff.
Depends on the time of the day and whatnot, because I did a Barbie one and no one was really noticing because it was like the middle of the night and everyone was drunk at that point. Nobody cared.
Yeah, I mean, I just like.
But I did see the energy for others. So like I had a friend
during the day. It was top peak.
So I would say this was Wednesday night, Thursday night. Was not even in cosplay, but she's a blonde, lovely, was wearing a pink jumpsuit, got a lot of high Barbies while I was walking around with her. Like it was amazing to see it. So I will say the energy was there for individuals who fit that. But I will
Also,
say, as somebody who didn't necessarily fit it, even in it, did not get it as much. But it was still lovely to see.
I wanted to ask, is Wednesday a Hawaiian shirt night thing now?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Tiki
Because
bar. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a thing.
so many. Is that going to be a thing from now on? Is that
It's
Wednesday
been
is
a
Hawaiian
thing.
shirt?
Yeah.
So
it's yeah.
I think I can't tell you that it definitely started with the BSG fan group, but
It did.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it started with the BSG fan group.
There are others who have
just
latched on.
Just like the ADP party started because of the BSG fan group. So they are the trendsetters. So they are the people to watch. And if you want to be part of the BSG fan group, you need to hit me up because I can get you an in. I can sponsor people, I think, at this point. So, but yeah, no, the Hawaiian shirt thing has been a thing for a while. but also I mean, again, like and I think that
Wednesday's
I mean,
new
I don't,
Thursday.
yeah, I don't know, like with your experience, Jenna, with, you know, not being blonde or whatever, but I mean, when I wore my Barbie outfit on Saturday, it wasn't all pink. It was very sort of, I don't even know what it, like 70s psychedelic sort
Neon.
of looking. And people didn't recognize, even though I am blonde and like I even curled my hair and everything, they didn't necessarily recognize what I was doing until they were up close and realized that the outfit that I bought, which I also didn't realize when I bought it, literally says Barbie all over it. Because I bought it from Unique Vintage and it's super cute and super comfortable, but also I think like when I bought it at the time, I wouldn't have purchased it if I had known that it said Barbie all over it, but then it turned out to be perfect for this. But people didn't really recognize it until they got like up close and personal with me and they were like, "Oh, you're wearing Barbie stuff. Hi, Barbie." But that said, like I just feel like there was so much positive energy in general, even if you weren't part of like trying to cosplay that or whatever. There was so much positive energy from the Barbie stuff this year. And I want that to continue.
At one point, I don't know, I can't remember when it was, but like our room is on the lower floors of the Hyatt. We go out and there's like a bunch of Kens and they started singing the Ken song. And it was just amazing. Just being like, oh, the Hyatt lobby is just a whole pile of the I am Ken.
They did that back and forth at the photo shoot between the
Damn, I
I'm just
missed
a
that.
Ken and then girls' night dance party and like so. Yeah, I did make it to the Barbie photo shoot. It was like one of a few photo shoots that I have ever made
I
it
have
to.
seen photos of that,
So
and it is amazing that they like
they
I had it was
had to
like a
move us.
10 a.m. photo shoot. So that
Yes.
was like I was like, no one's gonna show up to a 10 a.m. photo shoot. But
No, no,
no,
no, they had to move us from the
everyone
little stairs
showed
to the
up
big
to
one.
it.
Yeah, like they were like, nope, we have too many people. We got to move. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had to move.
I mean, yeah, somebody posted something. I believe it was Bill Waters, who is one of the who is like the guy who runs the
photo
Dragon
shoot
Con photo
person.
shoots Facebook group, and he's a friend of mine. And he had posted about it, and he was like, "This was like one of the biggest groups at Dragon Con this year." I'm pretty sure it was bigger than Marvel or DC has been for
It
years.
looked like it.
Like I think it was bigger than Marvel and DC were
it's
even in 2019.
10 a.m. photo shoot.
Exactly.
I
And I was like,
that it was at 10 a.m.
think if
half the
this had
people
been at
probably
like
haven't even
1
gone to bed
p.m.
yet.
Yeah. Think if this had been at 1 p.m. and how fucking crazy
Yeah.
it would have been. Like, my God. And I think they've gotten some complaints about it and stuff. Just in terms of like, oh, you can't see us because we're like on the side stairs and stuff. And it's like, it was a 10 a.m. photo shoot. What had like nobody expected the Spanish Inquisition here.
It's like you're just happy to be part of the crowd. Like
there were plenty of
times. I'm sorry.
There were plenty of times that I was hidden behind, you know, birthday cake Barbie because she had like big stuff, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't care. Like I was there. Like I got to see it. I don't care if I'm in the photos. Like it wasn't a big thing. And like I got to pick out like friends and stuff in the photos that I've seen. So
but also I made I was trying to make the nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition joke, and then I realized nobody expected the Barbie Inquisition. Like
yeah.
nobody expected it. I mean, they did, but not at a 10 a.m. photo shoot.
Yeah.
To be very clear. So other like personal Dragon Con pros, all of my panels were great. I was on 8, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. All of them went really well. Worst person in Westeros is the new Looney Game of Thrones theories. I hope it comes back next year.
So bad. One on that panel, so bad.
I know.
So many opinions.
I know. We need to get you on if it gets done again next year, which I don't know if it will, only because there's not a new House of the Dragons season next year. But
okay.
But either way, worst person in Westeros was hilarious. I actually already put the panel recording out on my blog slide. Like you can find it on Spotify under the Geek Saga podcast. I do hope it comes back next year, but if it doesn't, I hope it comes back after we get a new House of the Dragon season. Maybe without Ed Sheeran ruining the brackets, which you won't understand if you were at the panel, but
or following the Facebook group to see it happen in real time.
But maybe that should also continue too. I don't know. But the funny thing is, like, I actually edited my second panel recording this morning, and it was Please Adapt This, which was my first panel of the weekend at 1 p.m. on Friday. And it was one of those things where it's like, when you're in the panel and you're like, you don't really, with worst person in Westeros, like I knew it was going to be hilarious, but with like, and I'm not saying Please Adapt This was hilarious, but when you're in the panel, it's like you don't really think so much about how it's going to sound like after the fact. And I don't mean audio quality wise. I mean, like, is this actually like going to be a legitimate thing that I can put out that people would even want to listen to? I mean, last year we did a House of the Dragon panel that was like, we're 2 or 3 episodes into the season. Like nobody wants to listen to that after the fact, because by the time I get around to editing it, we're, halfway through the season and half the shit we talked about doesn't matter. But so I editing this panel made me think, okay, every panel I was on at Drinkin Con this year actually was something that I want to share. But this was one of the ones where sorry, not sorry, guys, drink. I had to moderate.
I needed to go. I will be right back.
But and this is no fault of the track directors at all, but they send me stuff and it doesn't, or I get my schedule and it doesn't have the parentheses M next to my name most of the time when I get my schedule. So I don't actually know that I'm a moderator until the app comes out. And this year, the app came out at a really odd time where my grandfather passed away the day before the app came out. So not to like drag down the thing, but my grandfather passed away the day before the app came out. So I didn't pay any attention to what was going on in the app. And so I literally had zero idea I was moderating any of the panels. I was moderating until halfway. Actually, I think it was until Friday when I showed up at Please Adapt This, and they were like, you're moderator. And I was like, oh, I'm surprise moderator again. Haha. But I wasn't surprise moderator. Jen had me marked as moderator. This is not the track director's fault. This is my fault for not looking at the app, or Drinkin Con's fault for not denoting that I was a moderator when they sent me my schedule. But either way, I showed up at that panel not knowing I was going to be a moderator, and I pulled the discussion questions out of my ass, which apparently I'm not bad at, because I was listening to the panel thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. I was such a bad moderator, but apparently I wasn't the worst. So anyway, definitely follow the Geek Saga podcast if you want to hear the panel recordings, because I have 2 of them up right now. The worst person in Westeros is up. Please Adapt This is on the Patreon right now and will be available, I think, on Monday. I'll be posting it by Monday publicly. But I've got 6 more panels that I'm excited to share. But anyway, secret moderator Tara, here for you all the time. I just am really glad that all of my panels went well this year. Worst person in Westeros was my favorite because it was the funniest. But outside of worst person in Westeros, I would say Shadow and Bone was also amusing because I was supposed to be the moderator, but Nami just kind of took over. And at one point she was like, oh, you're supposed to be the moderator. And I was like, nah, it's fine. You do you. Please do my job for me. But the princess and the
drink moment.
yeah. The princess and the queen panel that was on Sunday, which I was not a moderator for. Do not drink for that. But the princess and the queen panel that was on Sunday, if you are at all interested in a discussion about Alicent and Rhaenyra, that is just, I am super friggin' happy with the discussion that we had on that
I
panel.
wanted to go to that, but I was trapped in the dealer's room hell.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll be posting it. So Rebecca Fant was our moderator. She's been on a bunch of high fantasy panels with me before. And it was myself, Nami, and Jen, the high fantasy track director, who were the other panelists. So if you're interested in like a really great in-depth discussion of Alicent and Rhaenyra, that just, I mean, and honestly, actually, Manny, you could actually listen to this too without worrying about being spoiled by anything, because it was very show focused. It was the best panel I was on in terms of like the depth of what we discussed and how just positive the discussion was, despite the fact that, you know, there's the Angie like green versus black stuff there. So, the other positive thing I have for myself is I succeeded in my quest to do new things.
What did you do?
I went to geeky sea shanties on Thursday night. It was not what I expected. I didn't stay as long as
What was that like? Because I'm curious.
So
It's been great, right?
Because I had a thing
That's
at
what
that
I
time. I
heard.
can't remember what it was, but I know I was like, oh, I can't go. I'm sorry.
What'd you say, Jenna?
I just heard it wasn't like nobody got to partake in the sea shanties, and so it was not great.
So they didn't have a great like sound system situation, and they were doing the thing where they were like calling out for suggestions. It just wasn't what I expected. Like when I think geeky sea shanties, I'm not thinking really. They were very, very specific. I don't know how to describe it. Listen, the people who are playing and singing were very talented. That is not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the things they were singing were not my jam. Ha ha ha. The things they were singing were not my jam. It was a little bit slow. The sound was not great. Like it was like a couple people with instruments with like a mic or two between them. The sound system was not good. Listen, I'm not like complaining. I'm just saying it wasn't what I expected. It could have been better, but could I tell you how it could have been better? I don't know. I also went to Cybertronic Spree on Saturday night, which I've been meaning to go to for fucking years. And I was talking to you, Jenna, and you're like, we're in it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had Manny with me and I was like, can we go to this? Are you okay with this? And he was like, yeah, I'm up for whatever. And I enjoyed it. Manny, did you enjoy it?
I thought it was great. Yeah, I had never heard of them or saw it. Apparently everybody has, but I just never did, you know? So I went and, you know, I mean, I'm a big fan of live music, and however the hell people wear stuff like that while they do music is admirable within itself, you know, regardless of anything else. But yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it.
I will say though, their performance at MagFest the first time I saw them was much better than the one at Dragon, but it was still great. Like it was still very good, but not quite the same.
Yeah, I mean,
I also hear that they go to is it Colossal Con? That's the one at the water park. Because I think last year, yeah, they went down in costume on the water slides and stuff. So I hear that was great too. So
I have
yeah.
not great thoughts about Colossal Con, but that's like
sorry.
That's like my
it's
like my
nightmare to
personal
get to.
Yeah.
Rooms wise.
but also, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was one of those things where as soon as I think it might have been 2019, or maybe it could have been 2021. I don't know. It was 2019 or 2021 where I had heard about them for the first time, and maybe they'd been to Dragon Con before, but I had not heard about them. And so I was like, I want to go. And it just always fell on a night where I had like other things going on. And this was the first time where I was like, fuck. Jenna's already there. Manny, you willing to go? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. I wish I hadn't gotten so just like overwhelmed by the crowds. You know, that was kind of whatever, but otherwise it was fun. They were really good.
They were really good. You know, it was nice. And I'm a real easy person to deal with at Dragon Con because you're just like, oh, can we go do this? Yeah, sure, whatever. Like I just float around, like I'm just like a ghost. Like a friendly ghost that's just gonna follow you around the entire time. Who cares? Like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, what else am I doing right now? Let's go.
Manny, the friendly
Yeah.
ghost.
Exactly. But I fucking enjoyed it, and I know crowds are kind of difficult, but honestly, I fucking love crowds because I can just vanish in them, and not be like no one knows I'm there. It makes me feel like the most invisible and the most powerful in my life because it's like, dude, you don't even know I'm here, and I love it. Like it's fucking cool though. I like it.
Also, there's a comment in the chat if anybody's watching on Twitch that is a spam, but I can't do anything other than show it. Like I literally can't get rid of it. So if you're watching on Twitch, I'm sorry. But yeah, the other thing I did that was new, and this is actually a really like personal thing because it's invite only. I finally got to go to the BSG fan group Sunday night party. I only went for like a couple hours because we have our Sunday night party, but it was yeah, I don't know. It was fun to finally get to be like I'd been invited to it before, I mean, a billion years ago by a friend, and it's like way off site, like almost a mile walk, I feel like, from the Hyatt. And so I never actually went. And so I went this year and it was cool. Um, I'm part of the 13th fleet now, so I feel like I'm part of a thing. But it was fun. It was fun to finally get to experience the infamous Sunday night fleet party. But what about you guys? What are your Dragon Con pros?
I did new stuff.
Go ahead.
So I made it to photo shoots for the first time on time because I have tried in the past to go to one. But I showed up for multiple this time on time, which was a first for me. And I also participated in the second annual swag trade. So it is a separate group from Swag and Seek. It is individuals who make things because the whole premise of Swag and Seek is that you don't ask for things in return, so it's just giving. And that's the whole thing with Swag and Seek is we just give. And every year I have just given. And honestly did not get a lot of things in return, which is fine and totally expected. But this year I had found out about the swag trade group. So if you make things and you would like to get things in return, they meet before the con actually like is organized, and you can obtain things. And I have a little one who really, really loves some of the amazing things that different people have made. And this year has been a lot of making things for me. I really embrace the whole Swifty group. I made lots of custom t-shirts for Barbie and Taylor Swift that I gave out as part of that, and I got some really awesome things in return. Um, I have, and I'm sorry, they're already on a shelf, but an individual named Terry made Marriott gnomes, and I got those in trade for some T-shirts that I made. And then I really love my Dragon Con custom enamel pin that I got for trading some Barbie things that I have made. So I ended up with a lot of cool things, and those were things because again, this is the second annual swag trade. So I missed the first one. I was able to make it to the second one. And then being at photo shoots, I made it to a panel this year, which is hit or miss for me. And then I also got, things for myself and my daughter, despite the fact that many things were ruined by a bellhop on the way out. The thought was there, and my daughter realizes that. So it was a very good year in regards to those things for me.
I think we might have lost Tara for a little bit. My positives were definitely the Has-Been Hotel photo shoot, Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss photo shoot, I should say. I am, in the photo shoot Facebook group, so like where it gets organized, and not a lot of people showed interest in it. It seemed like it would be a smaller group, maybe 20 people at most. We go there and it is like taking up the entire stairs. It was amazing just seeing so many people. And it is a costume group that involves a lot of makeup. It is a lot of makeup, a lot of costume, and like it is a lot of full body face paint for a lot of these fandoms. And that was really awesome. I got so many of my ribbons were from that photo shoot. It was like that was probably one of the highlights of my Dragon Con was going to that. It was just really cool just seeing so many people for this like it's an indie project to be technical. And I would hope that like maybe I'll get a panel or some sort of get together in the future because we were not expecting that because again the photo shoot group putting it together, it was again maybe 20 people were like, yeah, we'll show up maybe. And then like again the entire staircase was taken up for people for this thing, so that was really cool. That was yeah, and then the What We Do in Shadows group was right behind us, so it was great because Lydia is our friend and she's there with her husband, and it was great seeing them come in and be like, hey guys. And like
what sorry, I missed it. What group was this for?
I was at the Has-Been
oh yeah,
Hell of a Boss.
I know.
one.
I know you were super excited for that.
I was, and I was not expecting it to be what it ended up being because, like, as I had said, it was huge because like maybe 20 people signed up for it, but it was like an entire staircase full.
Awesome.
So that was a lot of fun. That one, we had a just a friends group of doing Fire Emblem, and it was just cool being stalked constantly. So many people knew who we were and wanted to be like, oh, I'm on this team, and gave us ribbons, and we gave out our ribbons, and that was really fun. Oh, I don't know. It was so many good things. I'm just trying to fill space while Tara was away.
Manny, what about you? Yeah, I know you had some positive stuff you wanted to talk about.
I did. So all the Barbies and Kens obviously was like fantastic, because like the Barbie movie was really good, and I have a lot to say about that probably people will not expect me to say about it, but I was very excited about that. I took my my kid to see it, and he forced me to see it, and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'll go watch it. And I loved it, So my favorite costume I saw a Sailor Moon Barbie, and it was really awesome. And I was super into it, but it was too crowded for me to try to get a picture. That was the only picture I wanted, like throughout the entire weekend. It was really awesome getting to like meet people who had been on the podcast who I'd never, got to meet in person. which was really awesome. It was nice getting recognized as the person who was on the podcast, which was cool. That made me feel good, because people were like, "Oh, you're Manny," and I'm just like, "That's me. That's awesome," So that was really cool. Drinking all night, obviously, that's definitely one of my favorites.
Eating your $5 cheeseburgers.
Eating my $5 cheeseburgers, exactly. I just loved it. I was always, at any point in the day, if you look, at the Marriott, the bottom floor, I'm sitting next to the bathrooms on the floor eating a burger with like one of the cheesy $5 fucking burgers. You'll see me there, I have zero interest in like sitting down to eat at a restaurant. I'm like, fuck that. I want to drink that money. I don't want to do that, so that's what I do. My car didn't get stolen, which was awesome because the guy who was in the spot next to mine, his car did get stolen.
Oh, shit.
Because I went out there for like a costume change. I think it was.
Is that the Hilton?
No, it was
the SunTrust parking lot, maybe.
It's the one that's outside. That's like, I guess, across or next to the Marriott. That's outdoors right there.
Yeah, the SunTrust lot, I think.
Okay, yeah, there. So the guy he was from Texas or some shit, and he had like a big old truck, and he was out there talking to the cops, and I had to change because I didn't have a hotel, and I was like, fuck, like, and I was wearing that Alita costume, and I was like, bro, I gotta get like 95% naked to get out of this costume because it's like a jumpsuit, and so the cops finally took off, and I started talking to the guys, and I was like, hey, man, what's going on, bro? Like, like, what the hell?
I wish you'd hit me up. You could have just changed it in my room.
I know, but I was already, like, downstairs, and I was probably trying to, like, refill something, because I had, like, some whiskey, too, so I was like, oh, I'll go to the car, and I'll just do it, and generally, I just get in the back seat and just do it real quick, because I can change, like, within a minute. Like, I'm like a ninja when it comes, I'm just like, and then I'm in a different costume, So... But the cop was there, so it like wigged me out because I was like, oh, I don't want to get pinched for like getting naked. I mean, I just want to get out of these costumes. So, but yeah, they were like in the spot next to me, and their shit got stolen. And I was like, wow, that sucks, bro. Like,
what kind of car do you have?
I have a Nissan. I have a 2020 Nissan Versa, is what I have. So, but what they had was they had like a big old pickup truck with dualies and stuff, and it's not like it was even decked out. It was like, like there was obviously, because I was talking to the guys for a while. I said, look, your car was obviously stolen, not to get chopped up like my car would have. Your car is because someone is going to sell it to someone who is on a farm, and the car is never going to see like the light of day anymore. It's going to be used as a farm vehicle. Like, that's what's going to happen, So it was a different type of theft, I guess. I don't know why.
And was it an entirely outdoor parking lot or like a garage?
No, completely outdoor.
Oh,
they literally just walked up in there, and since the car was a little older, obviously it's going to be a lot easier to steal as opposed to like my car or something like that. So that was good that my car didn't get stolen. And,
you know what keeps people from stealing your car? Driving a stick shift.
Well, and that's funny.
Nobody can drive a stick shift these days.
And my last car was a stick shift. I love stick shifts. I got this one not in a stick shift because literally because I wanted like the Apple CarPlay and all that stuff. And the difference between the stick shift and not stick shift was, believe it or not, it was $400. And I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to get the automatic and get rims and all this kind of fancy stuff for an extra $400. Like, yeah, well, like, why not, But yeah, technically I always do stick shifts just for that reason, where it's like, well, no one's going to steal my fucking car. And if someone steals my car and they pop it, like the way you should do it, then they deserve to steal it because they're old school. So it's like, fine, But, yeah, so that was cool. And then obviously like random conversations that people would just have, like that's always been my most favorite part of Dragon Con is just talking to people, because I am a little bit of an introvert, but I feel like when I tell people I'm an introvert, I'm totally lying to them, because the second I have like a beer or two, like, no, forget it. I'm talking to everybody, and I think that's kind of how I broke it, because I was an introvert for so long that I got so fed up with myself. And this happened really like the first or second Dragon Con, where I was like, I would have some drinks and I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm talking to everybody right now. Like, I'm just going to go down the line and start talking to people, and that and that's kind of been like a thing for me. And obviously the 4 a.m. rave, that's always my favorite. That's like the best closer of Dragon Con all the time is the rave. Brings me back to my 1999 years. So
The Sunday night rave was one of my it's one of my pros, and then I went there high and was like, yeah, I'm having fun, I'm dancing, and then I realized 10 minutes in I was like, I should have brought alcohol.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
And
yeah.
then I had other things that had happened prior to that I had to go back to the Hyatt and take care of. But
and at that point, it was 5 a.m. at that point, and I was like, shit, I got to think about driving home at this point. I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
But I still had fun with you and Judson, and we met up with Josh and Emily, who I know Ashley, Josh, Iron Throne Josh, and Emily. So they were there, and they were just they were having the fucking best time of their lives, and I'm just stoned, yeah.
I mean,
I've been drinking.
I don't know what happened Thursday night, but I had one of my worst Dragon Con hangovers Friday, and I know I was out with you, so I don't know what we did.
I mean, I feel like that's just kind of par for the course. when you and I go out, we are not Ashley and Tara. We are.
Did you guys make it to a party on Thursday night?
No.
I don't know what we did.
We are Ashara. We are one person. And nothing good comes from it.
Yeah, we were like, bye, Keith. Going out. See ya tomorrow, maybe.
So I guess a problem that I forgot about happened was Thursday night. Bunny Hutch got moved from the Hilton to the Marriott. Yes, talking about a party. But their liquor didn't show up for 2 hours because the Marriott is notorious for their party, the atrium and the ballrooms and stuff, not having alcohol available. But Bunny Hutch specifically wanted, I think it was 4 bars. I could be incorrect in this. But it didn't show up until after I made it through the door because I had to wait in that long line. But yeah, so that was an issue in itself that they didn't originally have the bars that they originally wanted in that room as well.
Oh shit!
And then,
we should talk about the meetups we went to, because I went to a musical theater meetup, and it was not a meetup; it was a panel, which I will put on the app, being like, "Hey, we should actually have a social meetup instead of, not being a panel," because it was a little disappointing. I mean, I've been in the Facebook group. I've been talking with a lot of these people, and I really wanted to get to know them and socialize and be like, "Hey, yeah, you're into this, I'm into this. Let's hang out." And it wasn't what it seemed to be. But the other meetup I went to was Final Fantasy. Drink.
Goddamn.
Drink. We doubled down on it.
It was a social get together. It was just people hanging out and just being like, "Hey, this is a room where everyone, if you like this game, come hang out here, and we will just hang out here for the next 2 hours." And there was a bar outside, and we could get drinks, and we could take those drinks in, and we could just hang out. And I met up a whole bunch of people, and they were really cool people, and it was a really good night because, hey, that was the first night I actually met people and socialized and made acquaintances.
So I'll say
and that was really awesome.
The meetup thing at Dragon Con can be kind of hard. In I believe it was 2013, there was a Game of Thrones meetup that was on the schedule. And it was I was the person who was supposed to be running it, but it was in a track room. So there was chairs everywhere. There was no way to it was basically me just kind of going from one little group to another, trying to make conversation. And it was kind of awkward, like even as an extrovert and as somebody who was like, I am running this, I'm okay with running this. I didn't expect it to be like, and this is not I'm not shitting on Dragon Con. I'm not shitting on the American Sci-Fi Fantasy track, or I'm sorry, American Sci-Fi Fantasy, whatever it was that held it
High
at the time.
fantasy?
No, this was before High Fantasy. This is 2013.
Oh shit, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it can be really awkward when like this is the space you have to do it in, and there's a bunch of chairs, and then like 20 or 30 people show up, and I was the only person who was designated to run it, and it can be very awkward to try to like make it not, I obviously I made it not a panel by not, because the thing is like, don't get up and sit at the table, right? So it's not so this person is saying the track has to work with you and arrange the room layout, and yeah, so I agree. And I am not saying anything bad about how it was arranged. It was between two panels, and for them to rearrange the whole thing would have been a nightmare for the track director. Okay. And I think that might have been what you ran into, is that it's kind of, if you're calling it a meetup, it needs to be hosted somewhere where there's not a table
They
and a
can
bunch
move
of
the chairs.
yeah, where there's not a table at the front of the room and a bunch of chairs, and you're just kind of, oh, here we go. I ran the FF14 Sprout Social.
It was awesome.
So was that
It was
that
a great
this
time.
year? Okay.
Yeah. No, it was
I got
amazing.
a Sprout ribbon. Yeah.
All right. So people who might know each other, nice.
It was a great time. No, that was awesome, because it was just a big room and there were some tables, and like we wandered around. Me and my husband are very much introverted, and it took us a while to finally like meet people. But like eventually we did, and we just ended up hanging out at a table and talking with other sprouts, and it was really fun. And I think the musical theater track should kind of do something similar in the future when they say meetup, because I went with a group of people, and we kind of had an expectation that we would be kind of meeting up with other people there, and we ended up sitting at a panel.
Well, and I think so it's not actually, the musical theater track isn't actually a track, correct?
Yeah.
So I did see the articles about how, like, what was it? They dreamed a dream of a Dragon Con musical. I've seen that article posted like several places, which I love. So will they get their own track? I don't know. Dragon Con is constantly trying to condense things, which is how Ice and Fire Con literally happened. But that said, I think that if they can work their way into maybe not being an official track, but having a little bit more autonomy, that would be super awesome. Like I would love to see, like, Ashley, I know you're super into like Phantom of the Opera and stuff. That's not my thing, but I would love to see them get some panels where they could talk about, I don't know, parody musicals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did you guys see the vendor who had the Broadway musical pins?
no,
Like that they created?
I mean, I didn't go to the vendor
Not
hall.
sure.
Well, yeah, sorry. But they did a really neat exhibit of their pins. Like they did pin boards like this year. So like they did framed art, and then they did a lot of their own custom Broadway musical pins. And sorry, my ADD brain was like, oh, musical. Let's talk about this.
All right. Gosh. So other anybody else have any other Dragon Con pros you want to talk about?
I mean, that was really okay. So the has been on Friday night was awesome because the turnout was like 20 times what we expected it to be. I was in Fire Emblem, but I went to the Final Fantasy photo shoot on the Friday and the Saturday, and it was just an amazing turnout both days, and it was awesome and got so many badge ribbons. The badge ribbons are out of control. I have no idea what's going to happen next year. I think everyone is going to be like, oh, badge ribbons. Now it's just going to be insane. That was amazing. Sunday, what did I do Sunday? I think I did Barbie Sunday. And I was just like, a hi Barbie. It was just so many hi Barbies. But yeah, like my weekend was front loaded. Like everything awesome was was at the beginning of the con, and then at the end of the con it was just kind of petering out, and then our room party.
Yeah.
And I'll say this is the first year that I have double worn Squirrel Girl, which normally doesn't happen. Yeah, no. I just normally
I like
don't
that
wear
term,
her 2
double
days.
worn.
Like I just normally don't wear her 2 days, because I mean it's a lot as far as like keeping the tail on and things of that nature. Unless I do like the casual one that you and I did before, Tara. Like doing that one was very different than being in full Squirrel Girl. I do have to say Sunday Squirrel Girl was a little bit lazy because like I realized after the fact that I like forgot my ears and I forgot other parts of it. But I made a lofty goal this year. I don't know if I reached it because I stopped counting, but I wanted to give out 1,000 pieces of swag was like my big goal this year, right? I stopped counting at 800, but I know I made more and I brought more. So I may have made it. I don't know. Next year I for sure will. Like behind me right now, I already have squirrels starting to print. And like my plushies do really well every year. Everybody
Also
loves
drink.
plushies. Yes, sorry.
Yes, I think that you and I talked about it. The high fantasy track director, Jen, posted, I was in an elevator at the Marriott with Squirrel Girl, and it was the little stuffy squirrel with the
What?
heart, and I was like, that has to have
With
been
the little
Jenna.
acorn and stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I don't think there's another squirrel girl who hands out plush squirrels. There are others that I've met that have handed out like stickers and things like that, but I think I'm the only plush one. So if you have one, it's probably mine. I only had 2 versions this year because I ended up finding in a bunch of Dragon Con stuff from Dragon Con past, like old versions of the squirrels that I had. Because I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this since what, 2018 or 19, giving out plush squirrels. And I've gone through different colors and different variations, and I found different ones that I love. I print some, but yeah, Squirrel Girl is my big one, hence like my cosplay handle. And I'm starting my own little shop that I will have my own custom enamel pins and stickers to give out next year. I'm so excited. Like I have commissioned from a friend like my own little squirrel, and she's amazing. So I'm excited to give her out next year. So I've already started planning, and it's been inspiration. So if you see me and you see me in Squirrel Girl, if you just yell Squirrel Girl, I will follow you and give you something. So that is something I do. So when we talked about like the sky bridges and stuff, when I was following people, it was usually that they noticed me as Squirrel Girl and I had to go and give them things. I gave out almost all of my swag this year, which was great. And anything that I had left over, I gave out at the ADP.
Oh,
Was not
God.
thrilled with this year. It was in a much smaller room. It was not well thought out. That was like a big con for me because I'll be honest, 2022's was amazing. Like it was a big room. It was well thought out. It had plenty of space. This year it was crowded, and I'm an extrovert, and I left because I felt too confined where it was. So
Yeah, I mean, I haven't stayed Monday night
yeah.
the past 2 years because I think I'm at that age where I'm over it. Like in 2021, I tried to go to the ADP party and I like took one look in that room and I was like, nope. I literally just dropped off a whole bunch of shit and left. I was like, here, take all of the stuff I don't want. I'm going to have food somewhere.
I think I did the same in 21. 22, I stuck around because it was in 2 rooms and they were huge. And I felt more comfortable. And this year it was like half the size of the big room that they had last year. I dropped off my stuff. I handed out swag that I had left over, and we went back to our room and hung out with the handful of people left.
I like okay, there's somebody in the chat. I cannot wait to spam these comments when I'm done with this because for some reason,
Average husband.
Average husband. Hi, I have no offers to promote your channel. Okay. Thanks.
I didn't ask you to.
Thank you, Manny.
Hold on.
I will say that I mean, Ashley, you can back me on this. The 2018 and 20 or no, wait, did you stay for the 2019 ADP party? Did you guys leave?
Maybe.
I know you guys stayed
I know it
in
was
2018,
18, but 19
Dude,
I'm not sure.
The 2018
I miss it
ADP
being
party
in
was
the,
a
like-
goddamn mess.
I miss it being on
Yeah, it
level
was.
10. That's
Like,
all I have to
I
say.
mean, well, okay, we did the one when it was still in the Hilton, and then we also
No,
did
it's still in the
It's
Hilton.
still in the
Hilton.
Hilton, but did you do it
Too.
10th floor or did you do it
10th
basement?
floor. We have done the 10th
Yeah.
floor, and then a
I
couple
missed
years
the
in
10th
basement,
floor one.
like
The
2
10th
years in
floor
the
one
basement.
was good.
But yeah.
Whoever the fuck
Oh.
this is. Okay, maybe this is actually someone legit because they're saying, I hope Manny has a female named Manny.
You just have to like play into it now, Manny.
Yeah. But it's like thinking about the positives of Dragon Con. It's like I'll say something and then you guys have to say something and then I'll remember another good thing and then I'll say something again because there's so many awesome parts about Dragon Con,
Yeah.
but like they're just interspersed throughout your entire weekend, and it's not like a weekend; it is like a week. And
Yeah.
there were
Oh,
so
it's-
many amazing things that happened. I mean, just the first night, Tara and I wearing the Gang Goes to Dragon Con, having so many people recognize us was amazing. The Thursday night, going to the theater meetup, it was a panel and not a meetup, but after the panel, we still met a lot of people just handing out ribbons and like meeting other people who recognized our costumes because I was in a Hadestown costume and I was in a group of Hadestown people, and just like meeting like there were a bunch of Hamilton people who were like, "Hey, give us our ribbons," and we were passing them out, and that was a lot of fun. And then Friday, I went to the Final Fantasy photo shoot, and that was really awesome. And then that night, I think was the Final Fantasy meetup which was amazing because Keith and I had gone to the Fan Fest in Vegas, and we met people at the meetup who had also gone to the Vegas meetup, and that was awesome because we're like, oh, the Vegas thing was kind of like meh, but meeting people afterwards that had also been there was awesome because the Vegas meetup was not a social thing, but Dragon Con is a social thing, so that was amazing. And then Saturday we went to we did the photo shoot again, but also our friends were doing the Nintendo photo shoot and going there and seeing all the amazing, like we were part of the Waluigi group that was just insane, and just Waluigi throughout Dragon Con. The rest of the night was like a thing. And I mean, these are things that only happen at Dragon Con. You do not get these kinds of community kind of just get together and just do their insane. Like next year, I think there's going to be a Waluigi Kazoo thing going on. It is. I don't
Absolutely
know.
ridiculous.
It is Dragon Con. And Sunday again, didn't have a costume planned except for our evening room party, which again, the room party was amazing. And I mean, it's a thing that only happens at Dragon Con. Just like having a room disaster party thing where we were decorating the room with fires and floods and lights for the iceberg lounge and penguins for the light for the iceberg ground. It's Dragon Con. You can't describe Dragon Con to people who have never been to Dragon Con. I don't know how you would. And like all the negative things that I've had happen this year, and it was probably one of my lower Dragon Cons. But
same.
like even despite that, everything that happened at Dragon Con was so Dragon Con, and I loved it for it. Sorry, that was a rant.
Nope, it wasn't. It was perfect.
No,
and
it was
also
perfect.
now we have to give Manny permission to talk.
Yeah, the chat's blowing up, so
No,
this is what was happening.
I went on a thing. I had a moment.
The chat's blowing up from some dickhead on Twitch, and unfortunately, without I guess I could probably. Can I undo?
Wait, but don't get rid of average husband. Maybe he's looking for an average friend like me. You know?
Oh, I'm not a dickhead. Aren't you though? Aren't you? Anyway, Manny, now you have permission to talk.
Thank you, Master. So, I don't have anything to add to that. I think Ashley summed it up very well. And I would like to thank Ashley for her use of the words Final Fantasy a lot of the times, because there's so few people that I know that are like into it, and I'm kind of like alone on an island with that. So, you know.
You guys are friends on Facebook now, right? Or have been? I mean, you guys met a billion years ago.
Did we? I don't even know. I just know that you said that she was into Final Fantasy 14, and then I like cried a little bit because I was like, oh my gosh, wow, like a real Final Fantasy person, like live, like in person, you know, not just on the internet.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Ashley. Dragon Con this year was kind of like, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best. I will say, like, having our 2 rooms, like, just to the 4 of us was fucking great. I do not at all regret the amount of money I spent to not have to have 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms and
being old and having dispendable income.
Fucking holla, man. Honestly, like, do not regret at all. All right, so we're gonna go through a couple really quick things. Memorable moments. Manny, we'll start with you. What's your most memorable moment from this Dragon Con?
Most memorable moment. My most memorable moment, honestly, was when I first got. This is okay. I'm sorry, guys. This is gonna be a little sappy here, but when I first got to Dragon Con, you know, I felt really isolated and kind of by myself and very alone, you know, and I had texted some people and they just kind of like read my message and didn't really respond, and I felt very kind of just on the outside, you know. And I got into a conversation with old Matt Bonner, and he gave me like a verbal beat down.
I am so jealous. I didn't even fucking see Matt Bonner. What the hell?
Yeah, he gave me a verbal beatdown that made me feel so okay and so comfortable that I was like, you know what? Like, you're absolutely right. Like, I'm sitting here wallowing like a dumbass, and I just had no idea how the world actually works. And he gave me this fucking verbal beatdown that changed the entire dynamic of my Dragon Con after that. Like, I was there for one day and I was like, I want to say hi to Tara, and then I'm probably just going to bail after that. Like, I don't know anybody, and I was feeling very like isolated, very alone. I was in a mood. Look, you have to understand, I've been overworked. I haven't taken a day off in 3 fucking years, you know? Like, I was in a weird mental headspace and I was all by myself there, you know, which doesn't normally happen. And I was ready to bail, man. I was really just like, it was 10 o'clock at night. I remember it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I just happened to run into him, and he just gave me the most encouraging verbal beatdown that I ever got in my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a drink, and I went to the bar and I got fucked up and had a great fucking time. That was like the opening for me. It was the christening of my Dragon Con. And, so for me, this Dragon Con for me has really been just kind of like getting, dipping my toes in because I hadn't been since 2019. And I am very, very much looking forward to next year. And I'm going to party it up again and have a great fucking time. And, but yeah, that was probably my most, memorable. Yeah, I think it was probably my most memorable. I think, and probably
Bonner
just
is
because
the
it happened
fucking
first.
best. Like honestly, I did not
He
see
really
him
is.
at all this year, which is so fucking weird because the last 2 years I was around him like constantly.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I
I
always
was
saw
like,
him. Yeah.
how did I not see you this year, dude?
No, I found him at the most opportune, best time that I
Ah,
could have
I love
possibly
that.
have found him, because I was just dragging my feet and was like, well, it's 10 o'clock. Maybe I should go home. And I was like, oh, look, fuck, it's Bonner. I'm going to go say
Wait,
hi.
what night was this? Thursday?
No, this was Friday. This was the first day. This
Oh,
was the
okay,
first
yeah.
day.
But I
Yeah.
saw you after that.
No, I saw you after that. That's when I was
Okay.
in the zone and everything was like good. At that point,
Yeah.
everything was fixed. I needed to run into Bonner so he can fix me. And then once he fixed me, then I was like, okay, now Manny's ready to fucking party. So
I hope you have actually told him that, because also please tell him. I'm gonna tell him I'm pissed that I didn't get to see it.
No, I did tell him. I had texted him the next morning. I went home like late that night, like at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I thanked him and was like, dude, you really turned it around for me because I was kind of on the verge of just like calling it quits and just like whatever. And it's just because I went by myself. I didn't really know what I was doing by myself, like. So, but no, he definitely turned it around. But then on top of that, also, I wouldn't have gone to Dragon Con, Tara, if you weren't going. Like if you said you weren't gonna go, I wasn't gonna go because I was like, no, I got to see Tara. Like like we did this fucking podcast. Like we're best friends now. I don't give a shit. Like we're fucking doing this shit. So I wouldn't even have gone honestly if you didn't go. But I went and I had a great time, and I just had to kind of break my back a little bit getting in there, but once I did, I had a great fucking time, man. And it sucked that I didn't have a hotel, but honestly, it didn't affect me as much as I thought it would. I thought it would be like, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass driving back and forth and all this stuff, but in all honesty, I think I had like the same amount of fun. It was really good. So yeah, 10 out of 10. I think it was a good, like, kind of getting my feet wet again, like getting back into hanging out with people because it was like obviously the biggest thing that I've, like with like the most people possible since COVID started. So it was cool, but yeah, I loved it.
All right, Ashley, what about you? Most memorable moment? You're muted.
Mute Ashley.
I mean, I have two.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so the first one was the Has-Been Hotel Hell of a Boss photo shoot, which was amazing because, again, we did not expect anywhere near that kind of turnout. We thought it would be a small group, late night, maybe 20 people, and it was like an entire. We filled the bleachers, and it was really cool to see so many people in so much costume because it is a full body face paint thing for pretty much any character, and that is a pet interruption. And the other thing was the Final Fantasy XIV meetup, which was really cool because it was just a bunch of people hanging out in a room who really loved the same thing, handing out badge ribbons. I was handing out to people. They were giving me badge ribbons. I got so many badge ribbons. There was a bar just outside the door, and we were just kind of socializing. And me and my husband, who are two super introverts, still met people and still kind of was like, hey, and kind of made sort of friends. I mean, like, it's Dragon Con, who knows? Maybe they will be friends in the future. But yeah, just like meeting people and talking about a thing that we really love and this fandom that we are really, really into because we went to Vegas a month earlier for it. And there were people there who had also been there, and we recognized each other's bags. Like, hey, you have that bag. You went there, and like, yeah, we also went there. And being able to meet people who were into the same thing, that was really cool because again, introverts meeting people, kind of hard thing. So when you have those meetups that are actually meetups, they're really important to introverts. And just being able to make new friends, and that was really awesome. Make new communities. So those were the two things that really were awesome. I loved the room party, obviously. I mean, seeing all our friends again and seeing everyone that we didn't see just out on the Marriott floor.
I'm just highlighting Melodic Blues comment again because they ran the Final Fantasy Sprout social. So just
Yeah,
kudos
so
for
awesome.
apparently a
Awesome
really
being a
great
social. That was actually
Yeah.
a social. I have so much, like, yes, more of that. I want more panels to do that kind of thing where you can just meet people in your fandom. That is so important to introverts. Like, it is so important for us meeting new people.
All right, Jenna, what about you? Most memorable moment?
I would say that I had two. One was Wednesday night, again with the swag trade. My first time ever being a part of that group. It was different because I've done swag and seek meetups and things of that nature, but being able to like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna like triple down on this one.
I have no more.
It's fine, Ashley. Um, but that was really, really great for me, and knowing that that group exists because there are so many who like give and never receive through the con. Like, I'm all for the giving. But I have a little, and she loves all the great things that people make. And so she set out a goal list, and she was like, I would love to get X, Y, and Z. And if I could do that for her, I was like, I will make things for these people. I will do whatever I can. I will try to meet them. And it gave me a goal, and that was a great experience for me and getting to meet these people. So if you're not a part of that group, again, it's Drinkin Con Swag and Trade. Wednesday night is a formal event. It's meant to be like prom formal, wear your formal wear and meet up with the things that you make. And if you would like to trade, like, you're welcome to be there. And it was amazing. The second thing was I did a Miss Thornhill this year from Wednesday, and I had a lovely friend who did Wednesday with me, and we had a friend who we had tried to convince to be our Enid so hard. Like, we had asked her so many times because she was perfect for Enid. Let me say that she was so perfect that she was not in costume. She was not dressed up at all. And we met with her in the bottom floor of the Hyatt. Me as Miss Thornhill, my friend is Wednesday. And somebody was like, no, we need to get your Enid with us. And they had asked her, not in cosplay at all, to join us. And I was like, see, told you, you're not too old and you need to do it and you're perfect for it. And like, that made my con with like proving to her that like you can do it and you don't have to worry about the things that like you personally think. And like, it just spoke volumes for cosplay being so just transcendental to like what you think of yourself, and like the fact that like you can be these other things and you just shouldn't put these roadblocks in front of you. And like, that was an amazing experience, and I was so glad that that happened to her because I knew that she was like, oh well, I can't play a teenager. And it's like, it's fine, like, trust me, you are a bubbly Enid, and you need to be. And it just kind of, so we have the great picture of the three of us together, her not in cosplay, but like still part of the group. And So that was an amazing experience that I don't think I will ever get again, is asking a friend not in cosplay to join a group because they thought she was in cosplay. So.
And that's really awesome because as someone who is almost 40 and really into anime, not getting to cosplay characters that are, because shonen anime, they're all in high school, and feeling like, oh, I'm too old to cosplay this character. Being told like, hey, it doesn't matter, that really is an awesome thing, because I'm someone who has felt too old to cosplay characters. But I love anime, and all the anime characters are 15.
Babies.
So what do I do?
I feel that. Yeah, like I feel that really hard. I actually dressed up as an anime character this year because, like you, like the rest of us, like I'm fucking 46 now. You know what I'm saying? So it's hitting a point where it's like, okay, I have two options here. I can just find the old characters, or I can just YOLO the shit out of this and just fucking cosplay a 15-year-old. Like, I don't give a fuck, like whatever. So that's what I did. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's like, you guys are just lucky I'm not running around in a fucking Sailor Moon costume yet, because it's coming. All right, because it's coming.
Come on, Manny. I will join you. Let's do it together. I am down for this. I am down for a Sailor Moon. Like, let's do a Drinkin Con Sailor Moon group.
Right.
So my most memorable moment, I mean, it's not really a single moment, but it is a single thing that happened, is on Thursday. We did so I did actually cosplay like full Ted Lasso with a mustache and everything on Sunday. But
also, I just wanted to say, why did no one tell me that was a sports anime? I had heard that it was like a fish out of the water American Goes to Britain type thing. I finally watched it after Dragon Con.
Isn't it fucking amazing?
Anime.
It is the most it is the most beautiful, positive. I fucking love it so much. I love it so much.
It's anime. It is the power of friendship.
Yeah.
We're gonna get like either like Roy or like Beard and Jane or something after the fact, right? Like, I get that Jason Sudeikis is exiting, but we need something else, right? Like, we all agree.
3 seasons and a movie, right? Like, we need a movie.
There we go.
But on Thursday, so I did full Ted Lasso on Sunday, but like on Thursday, I did an actual group where I don't even know how it varied, but it varied between like 20 people and like 30 people. And then we randomly met other people along the way. But we met up in the Marriott by the Pulse Bar between Pulse and High Velocity. And at that point, I was just wearing my football player uniform, which had my husband's name on the back, which is a joke that I'm not going to get into right now. But it said Newberry on the back. But like, I was with this group and we were just fucking going strong, like having the songs, having like the chants, like God, what the fuck is his name? Roy Kent, whatever. We were going nuts, and we started at the Marriott, went to the Hilton. We're in the lobby of the Hilton, met some guy, by the way, who I had been trying so hard to find the lanyard for my whistle for my actual Ted Lasso cosplay. And this dude came up to us and had the actual the AFC Richmond lanyards printed and gave one to me. And I was just like, I could like cry right now because this is making my cosplay for Sunday. And I don't even know. Like, it was so much fucking fun. Everybody stopped us. But it's not about like being recognized or the pictures that were taken. It was about the group that we were with and how much fucking fun we were having, just like chanting shit from the show. And honestly kind of being obnoxious, but everybody seemed to love it. And I just like absolute, like I'd say it's the most memorable moment, but really it was like the most memorable afternoon of the entire weekend, because it was, I mean, I saw other Ted Lasso cosplayers and cosplay groups throughout the weekend, but that was the one where it was just like, yep, nope, this is like, everything is perfect, everything is awesome, and no complaints. So that was my most memorable moment.
I'm sad I missed that one.
So most memorable cosplays that you saw though.
Barbie Sailor Moon all day.
Did you see Barbie John Wick though?
No.
Oh my god, I saw Barbie John Wick. That's pretty
good.
That one was good. Yeah, yeah. I also saw a Barbie Captain Jack Sparrow, but I would say Barbie John Wick did way better. Totally in the Barbie photo shoot, way at the top. Like, oh, I do have to say, another one that I saw, forgive me, I'm gonna show less of my nerd right now because it's not my normal nerd. But the current comic book, I don't know if it's out yet, but it was the Tony Stark and the Emma Frost getting married. And they so my friends did that at the photo shoot, and that was amazing as well. I saw that and I was like, oh, this isn't even an episode of the comic yet, and it was fantastic. So, and then they had all their friends like be wedding party members, like, and they did it as a thing to like show off their 10th wedding anniversary. So like it was really sweet and amazing and lovely. So
my favorite photo was it was waiting in line to get our badges, and it was a dinosaur being attacked by a bunch of green military men in a stump that we just randomly passed on the way to get that, and it was Dragon Con in a nutshell. That's my favorite photo that I've got.
Nice.
My favorite one was, well, so I only took a picture of one, but Fran Drescher, the SAG-AFTRA protester, Fran Drescher, I saw numerous people doing this, but I only took a picture of one. But either way, anybody cosplaying Fran Drescher, SAG-AFTRA is my jam. Anybody else? Okay, no. All right.
I mean, my weekend was kicked off by the Doug trio. The Pokemon.
Oh, the Doug trios.
Oh my god, I love that one.
Doesn't start Dragon Con until you've seen them.
They were fantastic. I definitely, yes, that one,
that's
right?
them.
Yep.
They were
loved it. Yeah.
That's how you know you've started Dragon Con, is when you see that group.
Can I share that I loved the Pillow Pascal from the art
I didn't see that.
The art floor. Oh my god. It was level 4 of the vendor hall, which is the art exhibit area, and they have the Pillow Pascal, and so great.
Wait, what is that? Like
Daddy's here, Pillow Pascal. Like they're full body pillows.
I need to find that vendor because I'm pretty sure my youngest.
They're an artist, so they're not. They weren't a vendor. They were in the art exhibit on the 4th floor.
My younger stepkid absolutely needs that.
Oh, I also forgot. I made it to the Only Cows meetup this year. And I loved
Okay,
that.
you have to explain
it was
this
so
from
great.
the beginning.
And also, can I just claim I'm the OG cow? Because I started in 2021 and the group didn't exist until 2022. But so the only cow group happens where you meet up with a bunch of people dressed in cow, as one does.
I
And
feel like I've seen a lot of not safe for work photos involving
I mean, that's why it's
Cows.
called
I mean,
Only Cow. But yeah, so I started it as a homage to Doja Cat and her song Moo in 2021. And then in 2022, it apparently became a group meetup thing. And so I made my first meetup in 2023 and brought it back, like the Doja Cat that I had done. And I brought plushies and stickers and other things to give out and stuff with me as well. But that is a group. You can find them on Discord if you're into being in the cow group. And we meet up and have fun and party. So it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun for me. So
you're muted.
One of the things I wish I'd gotten to see, there was an orca meetup. Like orcas against yachts or something like that.
Yes. I saw them walking around with like protest signs and like eat the rich and stuff like that. Did you see
that?
So I know we missed the aquarium this year, but did you see the pens this year and what they were?
No.
They're belugas. Like anybody who has a
my favorite.
I
Mr.
know.
Mayonnaise. Mr.
So,
Mayonnaise.
If anyone everyone should do the aquarium at least once. Like you gotta do it at least once.
If anyone has an extra beluga pin this year, I will custom make you swag to trade and send it to you if you send me the pin. I would love it. So like I didn't make it this year, but like I have been going since 2016 to the aquarium. And so this will be the first pin I don't have. So I would love it. And I also enjoyed the energy of the Taylor Swift meetup. It was less people than I thought it would be, but it was also very great. I loved that as well.
I saw pictures from that. Everybody looked fucking great.
Yeah.
I also want a beluga pin, but I don't have swag to trade. I will just pay somebody.
I will make swag for Tara to trade. So like if you want
just want a Mr.
and
Mayonnaise beluga pin, damn it.
I have done the aquarium 1 year. I wish I could do it more years. It is amazing. You should absolutely do it at least once. I wouldn't do it again unless I got VIP passes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
VIP is the
amazing.
way to go.
So
my dog is whining.
Just things that I could make and trade for it. Like I made t-shirts this year. This is some of them that I made. So Taylor Swift and Barbie. I also made a bunch of car coasters that were like Doctor Who. These are terrible to show on screen. I also made some lower decks koozies, join Starfleet for the swag. I make friendship bracelets. Oh, I made custom Barbie coasters. Like here's Alan. I make all sorts of things. I am happy to trade. I made a bunch of Barbie koozies. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Like I am willing to trade whatever you would like that I can make.
I did find this swag and seek randomly. I just want to be like, hey, this
you got a friendship bracelet.
The one that I got. It is a Spider-Man little bracelet. I found it by a water fountain. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know what Swag and Seek is. And I was really excited when I found it. So
I got some great stuff. Like
people will find
I love this. So some guy gave me a sticker of his face. Like I love it. Like it was so great. Like I don't know who this guy is.
I feel like it's a One Piece reference. I'm not sure, but maybe.
I don't think it is. He was just like, "Can I give you a sticker of your face?" And his face, and I was like, "Sure, I will take it." So I know, again, I got lots of great stuff from vendors. So Maggie is a vendor. She makes really cute felt animals. I got a lot of Marriott carpet stuff because I made her 2 t-shirts. So like I had lots of like cute little stickers. I got
You're
some
literally just talking about Swag and Seek constantly.
I
like-
know. I don't have anything to drink.
I mean, I gotta
I
run and
got
get more drink. I
like
don't
this
think that's a
is
good idea at this point.
this was
Just
the
Manny
best
and I
year
now.
for it for me. I got poker chips, so I got red
Oh, those
pill
are really cool.
and blue pill. So like I got those. I got a bunch of stuffies for my little
But these are more like get together trades things where you're part of a
so
group that is trading.
some of these were in the wild, but some of them are trades. Like I got Hyper's card in the wild. Because I gave him a Mandalorian Pez dispenser. This was in the wild, so the Bunny Hutch, one of the founders or directors or I don't know, whatever, but like I got this in the wild was the key card that they were giving out for a trade and the sticker. And these are just the things that I have kept. So there was a lot more, but they have been confiscated from my daughter. So like and again, I make tons of stuff. So I'm 3D printing things, I'm sublimating, I do lots of things for this. Stickers, friendship bracelets,
All right.
whatever.
We're at 3 hours. We gotta
Sorry.
close this out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've ran out of so many drinks.
Did we all do memorable cosplays? I know I said mine was Fran SAG-AFTRA.
Yep.
We all did. Did we all do memorable cosplays?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yes.
I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick. Dragon Con 2024 planning. Yes, really. Tickets currently on sale for $100. Prices go up soon. I have no idea when, but
Like the
usually
18th. I think
It's
that's
like in a few days. Yeah, like today or tomorrow.
If you have not purchased your Dragon Con 2024 pass and you want to get it for just $100, which by the way, I want to tell you people that you are getting a deal that you're getting a 5-day pass to this convention for $100 because San Diego Comic-Con costs like $250 if you actually pay for it. So just saying, you're getting a deal here.
I got my because I didn't know if I was gonna be going to Dragon Con, and I literally got them like 4 days before Dragon Con, and for the whole weekend it was $175, and after taxes it was like almost $200.
Yeah, so, and that's still kind of a deal though. Like
$200.
5 days for a couple $100.
Right.
It was worth it to me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hands down. I'll pay it again. I don't care.
And we will pay.
And Eternal is only $4,500.
Oh yeah, only if you plan to go for the next 50 years. You will make that money back.
I'm not going to say anything about. I have thoughts. I have thoughts on Eternal badges, but I'm not going to say them right now.
I wish I bought it in 2014. Is all I have to say.
Yeah.
And I know people who kick themselves in like 1998 not buying them.
Yeah. So Marriott Hunger Games, because let's be real, the Hyatt, Sheraton, and Westin are all basically kind of spoken for. Marriott Hunger Games, Wednesday, October 4th at 10 a.m. May the odds be ever in your favor. Mm-hmm. I have nothing else to say about that other than
pay attention to your Facebook hotel groups if you're trying to get something.
Yeah.
And just because you don't win a Hunger Games doesn't mean you're out.
Yeah. The Westin is actually to pay hotel. Don't brush it off.
Yeah, the Westin is after that, is my understanding. And on top of that, you'll find rooms leading up to con. Just don't give up.
Well, the Westin has already done the thing where they sent the do you want a room emails out to people who already had them. So but yes,
unlike the corgi who messed it up this year.
But keep up with the Dragon Con rooms Facebook group. Like just pay attention to things throughout the year. Make sure if you don't get a room in the Hunger Games and you really need one, turn on notifications for literally every single Dragon Con social media. If you're not in the Discord and you want a room, I have heard that actually the Discord is like the first place they announce it. So join the Dragon Con official Discord, and there will be a chance that you'll be able to get a room at one of the other host hotels. Will it be a legacy? I don't know, probably not. But that said, in closing, last year we asked, I guess I'll just do it again. Rank this Dragon Con, I guess, against your previous Dragon Cons.
It's hard
Manny,
to do.
Manny, you go first. Rank this Dragon Con against previous Dragon Cons.
Okay, so this Dragon Con for me, like, I'm going to say it was a 10 out of 10, but in a very different way, right? Because, like, with the other Dragon Cons, like, I had a lot of safety nets and a lot of, like, guaranteed people to hang out with, So it was very safe. This one was more me stepping out on my own. So it was more, like, emotionally dangerous, I guess you can say. It was very different. But to me, this was the Dragon Con where, like, the rubber hit the road, like, for real. So it was the strangest, but probably the best one, honestly, because it felt like the most real. So it's like when I interacted with people and got to see people, it was legitimately because we wanted to see each other. It wasn't just like, because back in the day, it was like I was part of a group, right? So the group was going to this other group's thing, and we were all hanging out having a good time. But this was different because it was like, bro, this is your boy Manny, and he wants to hang out with you. And then people were like, fuck yeah, we're fucking hanging out. I've been looking forward to seeing you. So that's where it kind of gets weird, because to me, this was like the most rewarding because it was the most real, because I came as me and not as like someone's partner, not as like part of a group. This was just straight up, hey, this is just me, yo. Like, that's it. And yeah, so 10 out of 10. That's it. 10 out of 10. I'm not crying tonight. 10 out of 10.
All right, Ashley, what about you?
I guess like 6 for the same reasons Manny said. Like, I was stuck hanging around with my husband who didn't want to do as many things that I wanted to do. I got really hungover Friday, so I didn't get to enjoy Friday as much as I wanted to.
What did we do Thursday night?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember how I got back to the room.
I mean, it was with me for sure.
Yeah.
But,
I do know that night, Ashley, you had been like, "Do I know you?" to me. And I was like, yes, we have met.
Yes, no, I remember
times.
that now, because I was like, wait a minute, I do know you, but I just don't remember from where.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it was clearly a fun night. It was clearly a fun night.
Yeah, I was really hungover Friday, and then a lot of my friends were really hungover Saturday, and then it was just like, it was basically me waiting for people to do stuff. So it wasn't the best Dragon Con, I'll admit that, and it was more not the fault of Dragon Con. It was just things that were happening externally. I mean, I had a good time, but it just wasn't the best.
What about you, Jenna?
So I would say, so if we don't count pandemic year and doing virtual things, this is Dragon Con 9 for me. And I would say out of the 9 I have been to, this was probably 2 or 3. Number 1 was the year that I met Tara and some other friend group. It was an amazing year, and like clearly so ingrained, because that would have been my second Dragon Con that we had met. So that one was like definitely a highlight, but this one was really, really good because it was finding myself and figuring out how to balance between the friend groups, not trying to continue to make as many new friends and not trying to expect that spark the way that I had so many years, because like that only disappointed me in so many Dragon Cons. You can't capture the spark of meeting Tara. Like, it just doesn't happen again.
Oh God, I said
like,
no.
that
I
was
didn't mean it like that.
again. It just like it was so fluid and natural, like meeting you guys, like also dressed up as Archer in the Hyatt. Like you
Oh, that
can't
was the best
recreate
year.
that.
So
So like it was amazing. But this year was just being in the right mental state, being able to experience the things that I wanted, you know, continuing good friendship groups and things of that nature. I love the levels of 2021. I wish for them again. I get that they won't happen. It is the closest to being at Dragon Con 2008 as I will ever get in my life. But this year was good even with the bad, and I would say that it was a great year, and it is up there. It is not the best year, but it is definitely up there.
This was
10 out of 10. I got to see Manny.
yeah. This was I would say like shit. This is hard. This is hard for me to place because to be honest, this was actually probably in my like bottom 3 or 4 Dragon Cons. That said, nothing can compare to like the really fucking good years I had, right? Nothing can compare to 2015, 2016, 2018, and last year was also really fucking good. So this isn't me saying like, oh God, it was terrible. This is me saying there were
Dragon Con is so awesome that
there were some
so
extraneous circumstances that made this not the best one or even close to the best one. But that said, I really fucking loved that I forced myself to go out of my comfort zone and really not even go out of my comfort zone, but like go out of my way to do things that I hadn't experienced before, like the geeky sea shanties, like going to see Cybertronic Spree. On Friday night, it was kind of like a lot of my friends had other things that they were doing, but I got to hang out with my friend Paul Jenkins, who he's like one of the official like Dragon Con artists, like he's like an official guest. And so I had dinner with him and our friend Desiree. And it was like I got to do things that I hadn't ever gotten to do before. Whether it was because I forced myself to do them or because they just kind of happened. So regardless of any kind of bleh or negative things that might have happened, I still really had a good time. I just hate that I got sick, which also kind of like put a damper on the end of things. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely in like the bottom 5 of my Dragon Cons, but that doesn't really say much because I've been going to Dragon Con since 2012 and the like really worst Dragon Cons are like so far below this that I don't know. I had a good time. I'm super glad like Jenna, you and I actually hung out kind of more than we usually get to like one-on-one. Again, Manny, well, I'm pointing it the wrong way, but Manny, like you and I started our podcast a little over a year ago and you didn't go to Dragon Con last year, but like, oh my God, like hanging out with you this year was like fucking choice, man.
It was
like,
awesome. Yeah, hands down, 10 out of 10. Definitely. It was like when I was hanging out with you and we were like walking around and shit, I was like, bro, we're a fucking team. Like this feels like this is like the shit right now. Like I'm in it. You know, like I love this. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the way we met is such a weird conflated.
Exactly.
It's such a weird conflated way. So like, let me real quick describe this. Manny is the boyfriend of my ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. And when I put out that I wanted to do a House of the Dragon series, like podcast series with somebody who had not read the books, Manny stepped up. And so we became like super close through that. And then we started doing another podcast series because of that, our 90s and Naughty series. And so it's like the weirdest fucking thing you could possibly imagine. But like, you coming to Dragon Con this year and being able to like hang out with you and bring you around, minus the time we tried to get into the Spectrum party and waited for like 45 minutes before we bowed out. And by the way, I didn't complain about that, but like we waited in that line for like 45 minutes before we bowed out. My friends who did actually get in waited for like 2 hours and then got in and waited for like 40 minutes for a drink. And I'm just like, oh, I'm glad we bowed out when we did.
Yeah, I ended up going to the Heroes and Villains Ball. I wish I had done that earlier because that was so much more fun.
Yeah. So
it was absolutely fantastic getting to hang out with, Tara after we've done, because at this point it's like we've both been in the trenches for a year, doing these podcasts. So it was like, oh, you get to, kind of meet your heroes at this point, and it's funny because when you had put out that call for the podcast, like I almost didn't do it. I was like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. And I almost just kind of walked past it. And it was one of those moments where I was like, nah, I'm fucking doing this shit. Like I'm fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And we met on weird circumstances, but I've always been extremely attached to Tara because I remember the first year that we met each other, and I think we were probably both in the same position to where everybody knew each other and we were kind of like, oh, we're kind of like brought into these groups because we're like from the outside coming in. And Tara was one of the only people. I mean, everybody was extremely nice to me. Nobody was rude to me in any kind of way. But Tara was only one of the few people that really was like made a point to like pay attention to me and be like, oh, hey, like, and talk to me. And I was like, wow, I feel like I'm part of the group because someone actually spoke to me because I'm very accustomed. I have another story that I'm not going to tell on this podcast, but I can tell it after we stop recording. But, where I would always felt like I'm just the outsider, I'm just someone who was brought into the group and I'm just the guy and like, yeah, just get in the back, like you're totally fine. But, Tara didn't make me feel like that at all, so, and believe me, I had thought about that when she had put out the call for the podcast, because I was like, oh no, I'm doing this shit. Like this is just meant to be and I'm doing this shit, like end of story, because I fit this description perfectly. Like there's no one else who's made for this. I'm made for this, and I'm doing it.
And then we get to be BFFs now.
And now we're BFFs now, exactly. Because now we're doing more than just hot D stuff. So it's like, yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, any last thoughts before we close out?
It's been real and emotional.
Yeah, it's been a long fucking time. All right. Oh, well, actually, let me real quick. Does anybody have any upcoming events? Because I don't.
I'm hopefully going to a TeslaCon in the early December. It is a steampunk convention in Milwaukee. Not Milwaukee, in Madison, Wisconsin. And Milwaukee is the closest airport.
Grab some new Glarus for me. Grab some new Glarus for me. You're going to my home state. Like, grab some new Glarus. It's beer. Like, and just hold on to it. You can only get it in the state. Like, I drank one tonight.
That's when I get my spotted cow. So maybe.
Yeah, no. Spotted cow is new Glarus. I drank a spotted cow tonight. Like, I did. Like, spotted cow.
That is my next big convention. Anyways.
Yeah.
My only thing that I am planning on doing next year other than Dragon Con is Black Hills Redemption, which is, so this year we went to Tombstone Redemption, which was the Tombstone, Arizona Red Dead Redemption event. they're doing it in Deadwood, South Dakota next year. So we are planning a whole ass week in South Dakota, because why the fuck else would I go to South Dakota? Like, I am one of those people who I need to check all of the states off my list eventually. And South Dakota is one of those ones where it's like, why the fuck would I ever go there? But June, I think 21st through the 23rd, they're doing a Red Dead Redemption convention in Deadwood. So we are absolutely going. Like, I already have hotel room and rental car booked. Flights will wait because it's too far out for those, but super fucking excited because Tombstone Redemption was a goddamn blast. And I just I love Red Dead Redemption. And also, like, in terms of like, the people you meet at Dragon Con, right? Everybody is so amazing. And also, I felt we've all bleh. Ice and Fire Con has always also been that same way, right? The way I have felt at Dragon Con, and even more so the way I felt at Ice and Fire Con, I would say that what I experienced in Tombstone this year at this event was equal to Ice and Fire Con. Everybody was fucking amazing. And I can't fucking wait. Like, I'm probably neglecting every other event next year other than Dragon Con because of this. So, all right. Well, hold on. I want to make sure my dogs didn't bark. As we close out the episode, we just want to give a shout out to our heroes, to our patron, Tommy of the TKOK Podcast Network. Thank you so much for supporting us. And thanks again to our listeners for joining us for Drinkin Con 2023, The Hangover. We'll be back next year with Drinkin Con version 8.0, right? God, it's been so long.
Yep.
But in the meantime, don't forget to check out the Geek Saga Entertainment Patreon and other Geek Saga podcast episodes, such as some of the panel recordings from this year's convention and mine and Manny's kind of spotty but always hilarious podcast series, 90s and Naughties Cringe Factor, where we pick apart 90s rom-coms. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.